Can you hear me now? And does it sound okay? I think it's good now. Yes. Thank you, Anna Banana. I wasn't muted. Wasn't. There's a tiny little connector on my microphone that came just a hair smidge unplugged. Guess who I'm gonna blame? Guess. Effing cats. I'm blaming the cats. Okay, it was probably me, but I'm blaming the cats on this one. Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. Why? Why does that have to happen? Why? Why can't it just go smooth? Why? So, listen. Today we're going to start an arson trial. Doesn't arson as a crime just hit different? Like, isn't it? Of all the crimes that we watch. And on this channel, I try very, very, very hard to give you things that we see. Domestic violence, we see DUI, we see, the normal gamut of crimes every single day on all the court channels, don't we? Even subsets we see you can literally see every single day. I try very, very, very hard to get you guys cases that with a twist, that you don't see every single day. It's so hot. So arson, though, is just a separate category than all the other crimes, even the horrible crimes, because it's so terrifying, isn't it? I mean, I don't know, torture and murder and, those other crimes, they're terrifying. They are. I'm not going to say they're not, but I think arson hits different. But I'm just wondering, okay, why is it mostly men? And I'm just speaking about arson specifically. I know that 80 to 90% of all crimes are men. We already know this. Women have the most in, I can't remember. There's one category that women have the most crimes in, and I can't remember what it is. They are up there in like forgery, embezzlement, child neglect, because they have the children most of the time. But there was one specific category. Is it shoplifting? It might be shoplifting, where women are like, yeah, hold my beer. We got this one. But arson, though, it's just very scary. So we're going to do an arson trial. And, this guy, I don't even think he was a boyfriend. I don't even think he was that. I think this lady, out of the kindness of her heart, let this 18-year-old, 19-year-old move into her trailer because he didn't have anywhere to live. And he burned it down. Maybe not. Because she also had a child, I think, that was enamored with fire. So, now we have to find out, was it the child? Or was it this, I don't know if it was a boyfriend. I didn't watch the whole trial, so we're going to find out together. That's enough talking. I'm going to press play and pray to God you get sound. Oh, Mercury's in retrograde. I think Mercury's in retrograde, so that's why it was muted. Yeah, we steal hearts. They're tasty. Okay. Judge Cristofino is in Elkhart, Indiana. And I believe, Bobby, that's St. Joe County? St. Joe County? Or is Elkhart the county? He's in Elkhart. Let's just press play. Oh, Zach, thank you so much. Thank you. 10 months. Thank you very much. Thank you.
For trial. In this case, the state of Indiana has charged the defendant, Christopher Williams, with count 1, arson, a level 4 felony. The charge reads as follows. The affiant of the probable cause affidavit filed herewith swears that on or about September 8, 2024, at the County of Elkhart, state of Indiana, one Christopher Williams did, by means of fire, explosive, or destructive device, knowingly damage a dwelling of another person, to wit, Chelsea Reeves, without consent of Chelsea Reeves, all of which is contrary to the form of Indiana Code, Section 3543(1)(1A1), contrary to the form of the statute in such cases made and provided, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. Count 2, intimidation, a level 6 felony. The charge reads as follows. The affiant of the probable cause affidavit filed herewith swears that on or about September 8, 2024, at the County of Elkhart, state of Indiana, one Christopher Williams did communicate a threat to wit, to unlawfully injure Caden LeGrand with the intent that Caden LeGrand be placed in fear that the threat will be carried out, and the threat was to commit a forcible felony, to wit, defendant would shoot anyone who left the dwelling, all of which is contrary to the form of Indiana Code, Section 3545(2)(1A4) and B1A, contrary to the form of the statute in such cases made and provided, and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. The crime of arson is defined by law as follows. A person who, by means of fire, explosive, or destructive device, knowingly damages a dwelling of another person without her consent commits arson, a level 4 felony. Before you may convict the defendant, the state must have proved each of the following beyond a reasonable doubt. 1, the defendant. 2, knowingly. 3, damage. 4, a dwelling of another person, Chelsea Reeves. 5, by means of fire, explosive, or destructive device. 6, without Chelsea Reeves' consent. If the state failed to prove each of these elements beyond a reasonable doubt, you must find the defendant not guilty of arson, a level 4 felony, as charged in count 1 of the charging information. The crime of intimidation is defined by law as follows. A person who communicates a threat to another person with the intent that the other person be placed in fear that the threat will be carried out. If the threat is to unlawfully injure the person threatened or another person, commits intimidation, a Class A misdemeanor. The offense is a level 6 felony if the threat is to commit a forcible felony. Before you may convict the defendant, the state must have proved each of the following beyond a reasonable doubt. 1, the defendant. 2, communicated a threat.
Do not worry. I did not get all of the jury instructions. All I did was get the ones so that we hear the charges. Zach, thank you for the gifted memberships. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Caden LeGrand. 3, with the intent that Caden LeGrand be placed in fear that the threat to unlawfully injure Caden LeGrand would be carried out. 4, and the threat was to commit a forcible felony. If the state failed to prove each of these elements beyond a reasonable doubt, you must find the defendant not guilty of intimidation, a level 6 felony, as charged in count 2 of the charging information. The charge which has been filed is the formal method of bringing the defendant to trial. The filing of a charge or the defendant's arrest is not to be considered by you as any evidence of guilt. A plea of not guilty has been entered on behalf of the defendant. The court has read these preliminary instructions to you prior to the opening statements of the attorneys and prior to the introduction of the evidence so that you may understand the issues presented and the rules regarding the burden of proof, the credibility of witnesses, and the weighing of evidence. You will receive further instructions after you have heard all the evidence and final arguments.
All right, he took a breath. Zach, do you eat pizza? I know, guys, that sounds like a stupid question. But Zach owned a pizza shop for what, 40 years? Do you ever eat pizza right now that you're out of the business?
The court will now present counsel the opportunity to make opening statements to you. I remind you that opening statements are not evidence. Opening statements are merely a preview of what the attorneys expect the evidence to be. Mr. Pitzer for the state, please.
Thank you to the court and to counsel. Anger.
Jen, I love you.
Threats. Arson. I'm going to shoot somebody. I'm going to burn this place down. On September 8th of 2024, the defendant, Christopher Williams, was angry. And he made a threat that if certain people did not do what he wanted them to do, he was going to shoot them. This defendant was angry, and he made the threat that if certain people didn't do what he wanted them to do, he was going to burn a residence down. He was going to light it on fire. When he made these threats, he was armed with a handgun. And after he made the threat with regard to burning the place down, he did just that. He lit a trailer on fire and he fled the scene. The state expects this case over the course of the next couple of days to be relatively straightforward. We're going to call roughly 6 different witnesses. So the first 2 witnesses you're going to hear from, hopefully we'll get them both on today, are law enforcement officers. So there had actually been a call out to law enforcement a little bit earlier in the day. This happened on a Sunday. A little bit earlier in the day because there was some loud music coming from the trailer. Law enforcement went out, and one of the reasons we're going to call them is because, among other things, not loud music, they noticed that there was a vehicle in the driveway. The vehicle turned out to be a dark SUV, and ultimately it came back that it was being driven by the defendant and it belonged to a relative of his. We're going to call a second officer who also arrived on the scene when the 911 call came out from one of the kids that was in the house. We're going to put on some maps so that you can get a general understanding of the lay of the land, where the trailer and the trailer park was, and a general idea of just the landscape that was around that area, as well as what the reason for the call was and what the first officer on the scene saw. So that's going to kind of lay the scene for you all, hopefully yet this afternoon.
Yep, it was in a trailer park. So setting a fire in an apartment building is the worst, because you can affect the most amount of people. But setting a fire in a trailer park is the second most, because they are so close together. You can burn that whole park down.
We anticipate calling tomorrow morning Chelsea Reeves. So Chelsea Reeves is the woman who owned the trailer. And living in the trailer with her was her son, Travion Reeves. He goes by the name Trey. At the time that this happened, he was 14 years old. Now, they had a couple kids that were living with them, that were staying with them. One of them is a girl named Gabby. We do not expect to call her, and you'll hear reasons for that. She was 14 at the time that this happened. We also expect to call a kid named Caden, and Caden was about 19 or 20 when this happened, and he kind of was one of these kids who needed a place to stay. Chelsea allowed kids sometimes to stay at the trailer. We expect him to testify. We also expect to call the assistant fire chief from Bristol. His name is Jim Haynes, and I'll talk to you about what he's going to say. And then finally, we're going to close up the case with a fire investigator from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. So he'll kind of wrap things up, hopefully sometime during the day tomorrow. Those are the witnesses we expect. So let's talk about the place just a little bit. So the location of this trailer is 712 Drive or Avenue in Timber Brook Trailer Park, kind of near Bristol. And these are single family trailers. And in this particular trailer, if you went in the front door and went to the right, there was a hallway, there was a bathroom, there were basically 2 bedrooms. If you went into the trailer and went to the left, there's kind of the main living area. There's also a kitchen. And if you go down just a little bit further, there's a bathroom, and there's at least one kind of more of a master bedroom. During the course of the trial, we'll have a little bit of a diagram that'll show some of this. We'll get descriptions from the people that lived in the trailer. So as I indicated before, it was Chelsea Reeves, her son Travion, and a couple other kids that were staying there at the time, Gabby and also Caden. So let's talk about the events just a little bit leading up to the threats, the arson by the defendant. Let's talk about before, during, and after, because you're going to hear evidence that kind of cover these 3 different periods of time. You're going to hear from Chelsea that Chelsea and the defendant were friends and had known each other off and on for a period of time. There came a time when this defendant did not have a place to stay, and he asked Chelsea whether or not he could stay at her trailer for a period of time. And we believe it's roughly Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, something like that, before the Sunday, that he came and started to stay at the trailer. The intent of Chelsea was that he would stay there for a brief period of time before going to the next place where he was going to stay. He ended up moving in a large amount of clothing. He ended up moving in some of his furniture. He ended up moving in some of his electronics, all during the short amount of time that he was there. The events the day of. So Chelsea had a boyfriend, and she wanted some privacy with her boyfriend. She's got a trailer full of kids and this hanger-on who's at the place. She left for a short amount of time, but it might have been a day, 2 days. They did not go anywhere far away, but they stayed kind of in the community. During the course of the day, you're going to hear from Travion and Caden that they were hanging out. They were in the back bedroom, which was Chelsea's bedroom, because her bedroom was the bigger of the bedrooms. It had the bigger of the TVs. So they wanted to go back there and watch TV. You are also going to hear from them, and we are not going to sugarcoat it for you, that there was some marijuana in the house and that they were ingesting marijuana during the course of the day. You'll hear from them that the ingestion of that marijuana did not so dramatically affect them that they were not able to experience and hear and see and remember the events that took place a little bit later that evening. So as the day goes on into the evening, this defendant is angry, and he wants Chelsea back at the house. And he tells Travion, Caden, and Gabby, if Chelsea's not back here in 10 minutes, you better call her up and get her ASS back here in the next 10 minutes, or I'm going to wait outside for her, and when she does come back, I'm going to shoot her. This defendant told them, if you all leave, you're not going anywhere. If you all leave here, then I'm going to shoot you too. And finally, he made the very clear threat that if Chelsea doesn't come back in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to burn this blankety blank down. And you'll hear the French that's used when these kids take the stand.
My blankety blank cat.
During the course of this threat that's made by this defendant, he has a handgun on him that is seen by Travion and Caden both. So he's armed when he is making these threats. The kids end up leaving the house anyway. They end up going out the front door. They go tearing around the side of the complex, and they hide in a tree line that's just a little bit of distance away. And they are able to see this defendant taking items, clothing, so forth and so on, and putting it into the black SUV that's in the driveway. So he's starting to pack his stuff and go. They're kind of hoping that he's packing his stuff to go. Defendant gets in the vehicle, he leaves. We're going to have some evidence that shows through it's called a flock system, that it's able to track cars, whether you know it or not, through different locales in Elkhart County.
Creepy.
We're able to track his vehicle as he went in the direction and ended up back at the home of his relative up in Niles, Michigan. The kids think they can go back inside the trailer. They go back in.
I don't know how far away it is. Okay, I hear that the Elkhart is northern, right, Bobby? So it should border on Michigan. But the camera systems in this town tracked the car the whole way into Michigan from Indiana.
Inside the trailer. When they get inside the trailer, they smell smoke. And they are looking around and trying to figure out what's going on. They go back where Chelsea's bedroom is. There's a bathroom back there, and they realize that the bathroom is on fire. When they first noticed the bathroom was on fire, they're like, oh my gosh, we got to do something. Let's try to put the fire out. They make kind of they make an effort to try to put this fire out by filling up a pan of water and trying to go in there and do this. That is not successful and was not going to be successful. They end up grabbing a couple things the little kids would grab, like their Xbox and whatever, and they leave the house. Caden calls 911, tells them what's going on. And Travion is trying to get a hold of Chelsea and is kind of blowing up her phone. Hey, mom, hey, mom, hey, mom, I need you to come home. I need you to come home. I need you to come home. Ultimately, Chelsea gets the message and she is back at the trailer within a short amount of time. Law enforcement shows up. The fire department shows up. And the kids stick around. They talk to law enforcement. Chelsea talks to law enforcement. The defendant flees the scene and goes up to Michigan. You're going to hear testimony after the fact. So we got before, during, and after the fact from the assistant fire chief from Bristol. He's going to talk to you about the procedure that's followed whenever they get calls to service for fires. And one of the main reasons, his information is just pretty interesting about how they respond to fires, how they go into fires. He's going to talk about the danger of fire, both to people that are in residences or locations, to the people that have to try to go put out fires, to fires spreading and beyond. So he's going to testify, and then we're going to end up finishing with Thomas O'Brien from the Indiana Department of Homeland Security.
Can we just appreciate that he doesn't Thank you, sir. I know he's walking in and out of the camera. Might be equally as annoying, but I don't think it is.
And he ultimately gets called in to do the arson investigation. You will hear from him that he did a thorough investigation of this fire. During the course of the trial, we're not going to show a lot of pictures of the inside of the trailer until we put on our arson investigator at the end. So if you're wondering, hey, let's see the fire or let's see the damage, you will see the damage. And we will put on evidence through him that this wasn't some small fire in the bathroom. This wasn't some trash can that was lit on fire. This entire trailer on the interior and all of the items are essentially completely fire damaged and destroyed. There's fire damage, there's smoke damage, and there's water damage.
My sister burnt the house that I live in down twice. And her house that she used to live in, she burnt that down once.
At the end of all the evidence, the state is confident that you are going to find beyond any reasonable doubt that this defendant is guilty of arson and he is guilty of intimidation, and we're going to ask for convictions on both counts. Anger, threats, arson. Thank you.
Anger, threats,
Mr.
arson. My other sister
Ladies and gentlemen,
burned
jury, I
her house
remind
too.
you that Mr. Majerick is not required to make any opening statement, but he may do so if...
Raise your hand if you've never burnt your house down. Okay, almost. I cook. Almost. Yes, there was an iron mark on the floor when I was 16 because I ironed my clothes. But I've never burnt my house down. Never.
If he so chooses. Mr. Majerick, would you like to make an opening?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Please do so.
My opening is usually as long as my mini opening that you previously heard. I will point out to you the evidence will show Christopher Williams and Chelsea Reeves' friendship was far from some long, hard, deep love affair that would have incited rage in either of them, should he have to move his stuff. Also listen to the boys when they testify. You may find other possible alternatives to this fire and who has interest in fire other than Christopher Williams. And you will have doubts. At the end of everything, remember I asked in voir dire, wait until the end, don't make a determination. The judge just gave you an instruction not to make a determination in this case until it's time to deliberate. And there will be doubts. I'll be back at closing after all the evidence, and you'll hold some doubts. And I tell you, when you hold those doubts, there will be some that you won't be able to let go. What happened? Could this have happened? Could that have happened? And at the end of the evidence, I'll be back. And as I said, I'll go through those doubts, and I will ask you at that time. Use your common sense. see the reasonable doubt in this case and find Christopher Williams not guilty of the 2 crimes that he's charged with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Monica. You know, the Winter Warrior, you got Winter Warrior, that's my nephew, and I love him.
Thank you, Mr. Jerry. Ladies and gentlemen, jury, that concludes opening statements. We will now begin the evidentiary portion of the trial. Because the state has the burden of proof, the state will go first. Ms. Clays, call your first witness or present your first evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Patrolman Aiden Miller Coral.
Oh wait, that's not good. I don't want him to see one of the videos I have in the members only section. Connor, if you're watching, don't watch that video.
Thanks.
Monica runs the ship. She keeps the lights on. Yep.
Come forward, face me, raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm under the pains and pains of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth? I do. You'll see it right there in the witness chair. Spell your name for the court reporter, please.
Certainly. Aiden, A-D-I-N. The last name is Miller hyphen C-O-R-A-L. So Miller hyphen Coral.
Thank you. Direct, Ms. Clays.
Judge, can I inquire of the jury if everyone can see Officer Miller Coral? Just want to make sure that because of the computer screen.
What are you concerned about?
Just the computer screen. I just want to make sure that they could see him over that. I think everyone has indicated that they can see him.
Anybody not able to see the witness, raise your hand. I see no hands raised. Continue, direct, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Officer Miller Coral, where do you currently work?
The Elkhart County Sheriff's Office.
And do you have a rank at the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, I do. I'm a patrol officer, patrolman.
So you're a law enforcement officer.
That's correct.
How long have you been with the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office?
A little over 4 years and 2 months.
Can you describe for the jurors a little bit about your responsibilities as a patrol officer?
Sure. So anything that we can imagine a general officer or deputy would do, what we do. Traffic, calls for service, and anything in between. So domestics, DUIs, the whole gamut of what a traditional law enforcement officer could be imagined.
You have a lot of contact with the public, correct?
Correct.
And do you also conduct criminal investigations?
We do, yes.
Let's talk a little bit about your training to become a law enforcement officer. Did you complete the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy?
Yes, I did.
Can you describe for the jurors what that is?
It is I believe it's 17 weeks of training in Indianapolis. We get some basic things on case law, traffic law, tactics, etc. And then obviously our department does additional training after, with 17 weeks of training in Indianapolis at the academy.
Would it be fair to say it's police officer 101 education?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that then you come back to your department, correct?
Yes.
And do you participate in additional training prior to kind of going out on the road by yourself?
That is correct. There is about a month of paperwork training in the department before we go out on the road. And we have a whole year where we're either writing with somebody or we are in a probationary period where we're having extra people watch what we're doing and have questions and interact with our direct supervisors before we're let on the road. And then after that 1 year, then we're on our own on the road as a regular patrol officer.
That 1 year of probationary time, is that also commonly referred to as a field training program?
Yes, I would say the field training is shorter. It's not usually a full year. Depends. I think our department does about 2 months of field training where we ride with somebody. And then after that, it's the rest of it is probationary on our end.
When you're doing the field training program, are there different stages or different levels of that?
Yes.
Can you describe that for the jury?
Initially, we ride with, we just changed it, but right now at the moment, our department does, we ride with the other officer driving first as we kind of interact and learn our roads and our codes, everything that our department does that's specific to our department. I believe it's 2 weeks after that, we go and we switch, and then the new guy is the one driving, and he's the one who does everything with his supervisor right there. He can ask any questions, and they kind of direct how he's supposed to do the day-to-day policing through our agency.
During that program, are you kind of released to do more and more on your own as a law enforcement officer?
Correct. There's different steps. It's been a while and they've just changed it. So I'm not super familiar with the like specific sections in that FTO program. But yes, there's different levels, and at some point you're basically allowed to go do whatever you're trying to learn and get into, and they allow them to do that.
Officer Miller-Coral, have you participated through the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office in any specialty units or done any specialty training as it relates to your patrol position?
Yes, I've done the crash team, so the crash investigations. I've done A-Ride, which is for like OWI impairment of driving specifically with like drugs as opposed to just alcohol. Those are the two big things that I've done for specialty training.
Is there a ranking system? You mentioned that you're a patrol officer, correct?
Correct.
Is there a ranking system within the patrol division?
Yes, there's patrol officers or patrolmen, and then there's a corporal who's the next step above me. He's a supervisor, and then there's a sergeant, which is the top level patrol officer on the road at any given time that's actually working the road.
Can you walk the jurors through the process to achieve those ranks, corporal and sergeant?
Since I'm not a corporal or sergeant, I can just kind of briefly, I've not been involved in that, obviously. I know there is additional testing, both through our department that they do, and additional training, because obviously you're in charge of the whole division in that specific time frame when you're working. The sergeant they end up being the one who is responsible for anything that happens on his shift. So if an officer makes a bad call, it goes back to the sergeant, basically. So very briefly, kind of.
Sure. Are there also patrol officers who ultimately are assigned to the detective bureau at the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office?
Correct, yes.
Are you aware of how that happens?
I know that there's additional testing as well, and then they look at testing for like specific things within our agency, testing with like law and case law and stuff like that, that is additional that we don't, as a patrol officer, don't have to get into.
Do patrol officers with the Sheriff's Office participate in continuing education each year?
Yes, we do.
What kind of continuing education do you participate in?
There's state mandated requirements for different areas, so like tactics, firearms, case law. And on top of that, I obviously also, it is to my benefit to keep up to date on all the new case law that comes out. And so I try to keep up with that on my own as well, whether it's from Indiana or like Supreme Court, etc.
So there are yearly certified requirements by the state of Indiana, correct? And then there are opportunities for law enforcement officers to go out on their own and get training maybe in specialty areas or areas of interest.
That is correct.
You are ultimately supervised by a sergeant, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there is a corporal underneath,
Yes.
and then there is the base patrol division.
Correct.
Can you describe for the jurors how the responsibilities of those particular ranks might be different?
Sure. So the patrol officers are the ones who take all the calls for service in general, unless it's super busy. So this corporal above me would be the one, he would be kind of halfway between. He does a fair amount of paperwork. Any questions that a patrol officer would have would generally go to the corporal. And then the sergeant he's obviously responsible for scheduling, everything else overall. So if the corporal has questions, they'd go to the sergeant. The sergeant himself generally does not do a big amount of calls for service because he's the sergeant. So if anybody has questions, if there's any big incident, he would be the one that would need to respond for that. So for example, like death investigations or major crashes, the sergeant would be the one to go to that scene. So he would need to stay available for calls instead of going to calls for service.
How does the shift schedule work for the patrol division?
So sergeants basically sit around all day. Got it.
So we have 4 different teams, and a team is just a group of officers who work a different schedule. So at any point, there's a team that works. There's at least 7 officers total that work at any given time. And then each officer has an assigned zone in the county. And there's 5 different zones throughout Elkhart County. And then generally there is 1 and maybe 2 if we have extra people. And then the supervisors are not assigned a zone. So if there's 7 people working and there's 2 supervisors, that leaves 5 officers. That would be 1 per zone for each area of the county total.
What are the shift hours for the patrol division?
6 to 6. So we have 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So
Unfortunately, Eileen, I'm pretty sure that's the sergeant that has to take care of South 6. Ugh.
I work 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then it's a 12-hour shift. So we alternate weeks, basically.
So there's 2 shifts. There's 5 zones for each shift, correct?
Correct.
And it sounds like what you're saying is there's pretty much 1 patrol officer for each zone.
Generally speaking, that is what we would list as our minimum. We could have, on occasion, there is more than 1 if we have a full group of people working, nobody's sick, nobody took vacation, etc.
In what areas of Elkhart County does the Sheriff's Office respond to calls for service?
in any of the unincorporated areas, so anything that is not assigned a city address. So there's obviously Elkhart City within Elkhart County. We would generally not respond to addresses in the city or in Goshen City and Bristol City and Middlebury, etc. Napanee, Wakarusa. So anything that's not within the city of any of those cities that we have listed.
And do you know how large, maybe in square footage, the county is?
I do not. I know it's from Ash Road is the West County line, and then obviously the East County line, we have East County Line Road, state line of Michigan, all the way down south to US 6. I'm not sure how many miles or acres it is.
Would it be fair to say that the county is pretty darn big?
It is very large, yes.
Okay. As a patrol officer, how are you alerted to respond to a call for service at any given time?
So we have a computer in our car, and then there is a call that is, if there's a call for service, it gets posted on the computer. If it's an emergent call, so something that needs immediate response, whereas like a crash, something that is actively happening, we will be notified on our radio as well. So it's either computer or radio or both.
So you can get written information.
Correct.
And does that come from dispatch?
It does, yes.
What is dispatch?
It is like the intermediate point. So if you call 911 or non-emergency number for the county, it would go to the dispatch. The dispatch officer would get information and then put it on the computer and create a call for service for us or medics or fire, whoever it would be needed.
I'm sorry.
You're
Dispatch can also provide verbal information.
correct. So if it's something that is in progress, a crash, fire, fight, something like that, they would over the radio, and we would hear it on our radio system, that an address and a location and what's happening.
Do you typically try to respond to calls for service within the zone that you may be assigned on any given shift?
Correct. Yes.
Does that sometimes not happen?
Sometimes it does not happen. That's correct.
Are there other officers that have to come from other areas of the county to step in for those officers?
Yes.
Officer Miller Coral, I want to direct your attention to September 8th of 2024. Were you working for the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office as a patrolman on that date?
I was, yes.
At that time, what were your hours?
6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And did you have a specific zone of the county that you worked back then?
Certainly. So at that time, before midnight, my zone was D zone, which is southwest corner of the county. So like Napanee, Wakarusa area. And so yeah, there's a state road or County Road 17 is the east border. And then County Road 32 is the northeast side. So I can go anywhere in that area to the southwest of it.
Were there other law enforcement officers that were working other zones that evening?
Correct, yes.
Did you respond to a call for service at 712 North?
I did, yes.
And is that in the county of Elkhart?
It is.
Is that in the state of Indiana?
It is.
Can I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Don't shoot her.
Officer Miller Coral, I'm going to hand you what has been previously marked for identification purposes as State Exhibits 1, 2, and 3. Go ahead and take a look at those and just let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Do you recognize States Exhibits 1, 2, and 3?
I do.
As a collective, what are they?
They're a map from farther out and then zooming in to the incident location of 712 North Hawthorne in Bristol.
Are these aerial depictions of that area zooming into the location?
Yes.
And-
If I-
That's okay. Are States 1, 2, and 3 fair and accurate depictions of 712 North then coming out of that location, different areas of Elkhart County?
Correct, yes.
The statement is to admit and publish States Exhibits 1, 2, and 3, Runner.
No objection.
Any objection?
No objection.
States exhibits 1, 2, and 3 are admitted without objection and ordered published. Continued.
Thank you, Runner. Jess, is that TV screen on?
Should be.
All right. Officer Miller Coral, can you see on your screen right there the same exhibits?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to show you what has been now admitted as States Exhibit 1. Can you describe for the jurors what we see in States Exhibit 1?
Certainly. So kind of in the center, a little bit to the left, there's County Road 17 and State Road 120 would be the big intersection there. And you see the spot on the map, which is to the east or to the right of that intersection. That is the address location at 712 North Hawthorne. It's in the Timberbrook subdivision.
I wonder if any of the other trailers did get damaged. I didn't get to see that picture. I wonder how many trailers are in the trailer park. Guys, bacon. I just ate, so I'm fine. You guys can talk about bacon all you want.
It's off of County Road 19. You can see the St. Joe River like running east to northwest there.
What color is the, I guess, indicator for 712 North Hawthorne?
Orange or red.
And is that basically in the center, maybe a little bit to the right of the exhibit?
Correct, yes.
Does this help orient the jury to kind of where Timberbrook is in Elkhart County?
Judge.
Sure.
Judge. He's over there. What are you looking at?
Yeah, and I'd also bring your attention to the far top right. There's Bristol. So the city limits of Bristol would be up there. So it's between County Road 17, State Road 120 intersection and Bristol.
What zone of the county is 712 North Hall?
It's considered C zone for us.
How is it that you came to respond to this location on September 8th of 2024?
The officer who was assigned to that zone was busy on another call. I was not busy on another call. So I went and responded to that call.
Do you recall what time the dispatch came in?
We have a Savaki Brothers here, Smurf, and it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Except they replaced oh my gosh, I can't remember what they replaced a different restaurant that was in Lancaster that was so freaking delicious. They had these waffle fries with cheese. Oof. But no, we have a Savaki Brothers here. And they're extremely handsome. The whole line of cooks, Greek, extremely handsome. Oof.
Dispatched at 9:31 p.m.
And do you recall what time you actually arrived in the Timberbrook?
9:45. I was pulling into Timberbrook in that area.
So you've got States Exhibit 2. What do we see in States Exhibit 2?
It is a zoomed up thing. You can see basically all of Timberbrook, that mobile home park, and then again in the center, a little bit above, is the orange dot, which is the incident location of 712 North Hall.
How is the Timberbrook subdivision accessed from, I guess, the closest main road?
It'd be County Road 19, which is to the west. It runs north and south. It's labeled as 19 in the little white square box. And then you can see that 19 comes off of 120, which is State Road 120.
And once you are in, is it accurate for me to say that if you're coming from the south, you turn right into the trailer park?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Can you describe for the jury a little bit about the layout of that park, for lack of a better term?
Sure. So when I was coming from the south, so I turned right into the Timberbrook subdivision, and then I would have taken a left. You can see there's like a circle, and then gone along the north side there. It's Timberbrook Circle Drive, I believe. And then to North Wood Street, which you can see where kind of there's a separate section of the mobile home park. And then you can see South Hall Street. You don't see North Hall Street, but North Hall Street is the street to the north of South Hall Street at the very north side of the mobile home park.
It's choppy here because I cut the name of the street out, so the address is hidden. So it's choppy. It's choppy whenever they say the address.
The mobile homes that are within this park, are they single family homes?
Yes.
States Exhibit 3, what do we see here?
We have North Hall Street with the 712 north address marked with the orange or red dot. And then you can see South Hall to the south of it, and then West Hall to the west. That runs north and south.
Do we see the individual trailer residences here?
We do, yes, ma'am.
Do you recall why you were dispatched to that location on September 8th of 2024?
I do. There was a loud music complaint coming from that address.
Was it specific to that address?
Yes.
When you arrived in the mobile home park, did you go immediately towards the 712 North address?
I went toward it. I went around. I went South Street, which you can see right there, and went from the left to the right, which is west to east, and then looped around so that as to not come from the expected location, and then drove by slowly by the incident location.
Were you able to make some observations about that residence?
I did. I activated my body worn and dash cam cameras like we always do when we go on scene, and then I just idled in drive slowly past that location, and I noticed that there was lights on in the mobile home park, that there was no music that I heard at all because I had my windows down, and that there was a black SUV, like a Tahoe Suburban Cadillac Escalade, something of that nature,
Thank you so much,
in the drive,
Josh.
which you
Thank
can see there. There's a little pavement section of the trailer park, or each mobile home lot, I guess it would be called. And then I noticed that there was a door on the passenger side of the vehicle that was open. Vehicle wasn't running. Nobody was in sight. I didn't hear anybody, didn't hear any music. And so then I continued driving from right to left and down to West Hawthorne.
So let's back up for just a moment. You indicated that there's maybe a driveway area for each one of these mobile homes.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Can
ma'am.
you be a little bit more specific as we look at States Exhibit 3? Where would that driveway be associated to 712 North Hawthorne?
Sure. So the dot where it's directly on a mobile home to the top right, which is the northeast corner of that mobile home, there's a little square that's white. It's a concrete slab, basically. So when I say like a drive or a parking area, that is the spot that I saw the black SUV in.
Did you see any other vehicles in that drive area?
I did not notice any other vehicles in the drive, no.
Did you see any people in the area?
I did not, no.
Did you see anybody coming and going from the SUV?
No.
Do you recall the make and model of the SUV?
I didn't know the maker model specifically. Like I said, it was dark. I had my lights on when I initially drove through. I'm not a mechanic, but I'm familiar with vehicles. And it was a large black SUV. And in my notes, I said either like a Cadillac Escalade, a Chevy Tahoe, or like a Yukon or Suburban type vehicle. So a large black SUV.
Any reason at that time for you to get out of your vehicle and do any sort of investigation?
No, the initial call that come in, there was an anonymous caller who was just wanting to make it known that there was loud music. And so generally, they will either request, the caller will either request, hey, let us know what happened, or they will say, we just are letting you know that there's loud music. If you can deal with it, deal with it. Because they were anonymous, they did not request us to contact them. So generally, we don't contact them if they don't request to be contacted. I drove by, it was quiet, and then I waited in the area just to the south on West Hall Street. I went down to the next road and blacked out and waited, and then I was going to check again later.
Approximately how far apart are these mobile homes from each other?
I'm not sure on the estimate of feet. It's about 2 widths of a mobile home of grassy area or land between. So I'm not sure if it's very close.
Were you aware in September of 2024 that there were other people that lived in the mobile homes surrounding 712 North?
Yeah, it appeared so, yes, ma'am.
You mentioned that you went and waited on South.
West runs north and south, yes.
I'm sorry, West. Why did you kind of wait around?
Because even though at the time there was no music coming, I wanted to wait, and which is what I generally do. If there's no music heard initially, we like to wait, give it a few minutes and come back through again and make sure somebody didn't just turn it off briefly and then turn the music back on.
How long do you think that you waited, I guess, until you did something else?
So at 9:45 when I initially drove through, and then I waited. At 9:57 I went through the third time. So between 9:45 and 9:57 I'd gone through once and didn't observe anything. And then at 9:57 I went through again with no lights on and just idled through. There's street lights so I could see, but I had no lights on my vehicle just to make sure that nobody saw me coming. And everything was exactly the same. There was no music. There was lights on in the trailer. The vehicle was still parked in the same spot, the same place that I saw it originally, and the door was still open. And I still saw no people.
So between 9:45.
Yeah, I can share. I have clam strips and French fries. See, there's still plenty. You can have whatever you want.
And 9:57, you made 3 passes by the house, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And each time you passed, the SUV was in the driveway, the lights were on, nothing else to observe.
Correct, yes, ma'am. And just to be specific, there's no lights on in the vehicle. The vehicle wasn't right. There was lights on in the mobile home.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for clearing that up. Did you eventually clear from this call?
Yes, after that, I cleared the call. It was around 10 o'clock when I typed in my last note and cleared the call.
Did you have any involvement in the arson investigation or the suspicious fire investigation that took place later that evening?
I had no direct involvement. I did call back the anonymous person, but I had no involvement in the investigation reference the arson at all.
Those are all the questions I have. Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Cross, Mr. Ruggieri?
Thank you, Your Honor. Patrolman Aiden.
Yes, sir.
Your rank is patrolman.
Yes, sir.
Can I just call you patrolman?
That's fine.
Patrolman. Are you familiar with that trailer park at all?
Fairly, yes, sir.
You've been through it
Yes, sir.
on routine?
Yeah, a fair amount, I would say.
What do you mean, can I just call you patrolman? All right, I'm gonna let that go.
Patrolling. Is there a basketball court in that facility?
It's possible. I have not been to a basketball court. I'm not going to say no. I don't recall. I couldn't pinpoint you to where it was if it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're not.
I'm not super familiar with the basketball court. Never responded to the basketball court.
Okay, are you aware if there's a park within it?
I believe there is a park. Again, I've not responded to the park either.
You don't know which section of the.
I'm not sure. I would be speculation on my end to point you to the park.
Relevance, basketball court.
You said you first drove past 712, and that'd be 712. 712 at 9:45,
Yes, sir.
and your last drive-by was 9:57,
Yes, sir.
and you saw the black SUV, which might have been an Escalade, right?
I believe I said Escalade, Tahoe, Suburban, something of that nature.
Large SUV.
a large black SUV, yes, sir.
And you didn't see anyone come or go.
Correct.
You didn't see any kids leaving the scene.
Didn't see anybody come or go.
You didn't see any kids going to other parts of the trailer park.
Yes, sir. I didn't see anybody at any point.
Your last drive-by was 9:57.
Liar. Liar. Listen, at 9:57 p.m., there's kids all over the place in trailer parks every night. He's lying.
And then you cleared the scene at 10 o'clock. Where would you have been at 10 o'clock, or was that as you were leaving the patrol? I mean, excuse me, strike that. As you were leaving the trailer park.
Generally, I don't type while we're driving, so I will stop in the trailer park as I'm clearing it and then leave the trailer park after I've already cleared the call. So I probably toward the entrance of the trailer park, I would have stopped, typed in my last note, and then cleared the call and then exited the trailer
So
park.
your last notation would have been clearing the call.
Correct, yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Jerry. Ms. Clays, any redirect?
No, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do you have any questions for Patrolman Aiden Miller-Coral? If you do, raise your hand. I see no hands raised. Release from Ms. Sapina?
Yes.
Release from Ms. Sapina, Mr. Jerry?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. Officer, you're released from your subpoena.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Ms. Clays?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Patrolman Joshua Schuster.
Officer, come forward, face me. It's good. Raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm under the pains of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
Have a seat in the witness chair, please. Please spell your first and last name for the court reporter.
First name Joshua, Joshua. Last name Schuster, Schuster.
Thank you. Ms. Clays, direct.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening. Officer Schuster, how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with Elkhart County Sheriff's Office.
Are you in fact a law enforcement officer?
I am.
And what is your current rank?
I'm a patrolman.
How long have you been a law enforcement officer with the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office?
A little over 3 years.
Did you have any law enforcement experience prior to the Sheriff's Office?
No,
Did you attend the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy?
I have.
Did you graduate from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy?
I have.
Just give the jurors a basic rundown of the types of things that you learned at the Law Enforcement Academy.
Basic criminal investigation, emergency vehicle operations, SFSTs, standard field sobriety test,
Police Officer 101.
pretty much.
When did you graduate from the Law Enforcement Academy?
December 2022.
And did you immediately start your employment with the Sheriff's Office after that?
I was already employed as a corrections officer.
So you had experience at the jail, correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about your corrections officer position?
Just a regular corrections officer, not a supervisor or anything like that.
How long were you a corrections officer at the jail?
Only 8 months.
What were some of your responsibilities there?
Ensuring the safety of the facility, taking care of inmates, routine safety patrols, making sure everyone's there, everyone's fed, taken care of medically.
When you graduated from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy and you came back to the Sheriff's Office, did you participate in the field training program?
I have
How long did that take to complete?
approximately 2 months, 2.5 months.
And I think that the jury's heard testimony that that's basically done in stages. You're working with another officer that may have some seniority, is that correct?
That is correct.
And do you have to complete that field training program successfully to be out on your own as a law enforcement officer?
You do.
What does it mean to be out on your own as a law enforcement officer with the Sheriff's Office?
It means that you're independent. You don't have another patrolman there supervising every single thing you do. You just have your corporal and sergeant shift command.
And it sounds like there's about another 10 months that you're on probation as a Sheriff's Office patrolman.
Yep. First year is your probationary year.
What does that mean?
It just means that you're still under supervision. Doesn't mean you have someone in the vehicle with you, but there is another officer still looking out over you.
In your time at the Sheriff's Office, have you participated in any specialty units or gone through any specialty training?
I am now a field training officer.
Patrolman Miller-Coral testified that Sheriff's officers, they participate in continuing education each year, correct?
Continuous training, yes.
Yes. So you have certifications that you have to go through with the state.
Yes.
And then there's opportunities, maybe for areas of special interest or whatever, for officers to go out on their own and participate in education.
That is correct.
As a patrol officer for the sheriff's office, what kind of calls have you responded to, calls for service?
Everything down from petty civil over property lines to homicide.
How many calls for service do you think you've responded to in your time at the sheriff's office?
Oh boy. I couldn't give you an exact answer, but definitely probably close to at least 1,000.
How many suspicious fire investigations have you participated in at the sheriff's office?
Approximately 10.
Would you agree with me that they're probably not common calls?
No, they're not one of your common calls.
Might you investigate different calls or different criminal activity in different ways?
Yes.
Can you give the jury an example?
Like I said, civil, you're more or less giving them guidance on procedures and how they can go about resolving, I should say, their disputes, to thefts where you're just getting basic information, documenting the scene of the incident, looking for signs of theft or tools used in case of burglary.
You might talk to people.
Yeah, interview, gather video evidence, photographs.
Would it be fair to say that there may be some scenes that have a lot of evidence that can be gathered and there are some investigations that don't have much at all?
That is correct.
Are there other law enforcement officers with the sheriff's office that are tasked with doing some of those things, like collecting evidence?
Yes.
Are there patrol evidence technicians?
So every officer is trained in collection of evidence. There are certain officers, it's not a specialty yet, that do assist CSI. The reason why I didn't say that's a specialty training is because it's not an actual certified specialty, but I do have some additional experience in CSI.
So does that mean that you have training regarding when to collect evidence and maybe when not to collect evidence?
In procedures of how to collect it.
Okay. Are there larger investigations that officers from the criminal or the crime scene investigations unit come out and they collect evidence?
Yes.
Are there investigations where law enforcement officers may not be the ones collecting the evidence at all?
Yes.
So let's talk about calls for service related to fires. What are patrol officers' responsibilities at those scenes?
It's more limited. We're there to secure the scene, ensure safety of the public.
Is patrol called for every fire in the county?
No.
How does that work?
Depending whether or not the fire department requires us to be there for traffic detail. If it's a larger fire, we have to shut down the road. Whether or not, sadly, sometimes the discovery of a deceased in the residence will be called out, or if there's the suspicion of arson.
So might patrol be dispatched if information is provided to 911 that there's maybe some suspicion there?
Yes.
Are there instances where administrators, either from the sheriff's office or from a specific fire department, might respond to a fire scene?
Yes.
At a suspicious fire scene, whose responsibility is it to conduct the majority of the investigation of the fire?
Fire marshal.
What is a fire marshal?
They are specifically trained in the investigation of fires, work for, correct me if I'm wrong, either state or federal.
Are there fire marshals that are employed by local agencies?
I'm unsure of that answer.
Okay. And you said that the fire departments themselves may do some investigation at these scenes.
That's correct.
Are there circumstances in which either law enforcement or a fire department might get a fire investigator involved in a particular fire situation?
Yes.
You testified that at a call for service related to a fire, the law enforcement agency it's limited. They do security, they make sure that, people are probably out of the scene, out of danger, that kind of stuff. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do those responsibilities change as it relates to suspicious fires?
Yes.
How?
So then we have to document, start interviewing people, gathering information, comings and goings of the residents, that sort of thing.
Might officers be tasked with looking for surveillance in the area?
Yes.
Might they be tasked with conducting interviews at the sheriff's office?
Yes.
Might they be tasked with trying to find digital evidence like cell phone data, or social media, those kind of things?
Yes.
Who, I guess, delineates or who hands out those tasks?
So usually in an arson investigation, I will contact my supervisor. Supervisor will usually call the on-call detective, and the on-call detective takes it from there.
I want to direct your attention to September 8th of 2024. Were you working for the sheriff's office on that date?
I was.
What were your hours on that date?
6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
And were you assigned a specific zone?
C zone, which is the Bristol, Middlebury, northeast section of the county.
Did you receive a dispatch or a call for service to 712 North?
I did.
And is that in Elkhart County?
It is.
We should all check our batteries today, guys. It's pretty important. And find your fire extinguishers. It's pretty important. Yeah, I dated a cop once. He worked 12-hour shifts, but so did I. I worked in a factory. I worked 12-hour shifts. So we both, when we were on off shifts, that was a nightmare. But when we were on the same shift, it was fine. But then prison guards work 16-hour shifts, not every day, but the prison guards here, they go into work for an 8-hour shift. And I mean, let's say there's 12 of them on that night. 6 of them will be working 16-hour shifts. 4 of them will be on call, which means they have a 50-50 chance of working a 16-hour shift, and they won't know it. The prison guards work long hours. My fire extinguisher. We should find our fire extinguishers, and if you can't, go buy one. It's important.
Is that in the state of Indiana?
It is.
Do you recall what time the initial
And don't pour water on a grease fire. Again.
dispatch came through?
Approximately 10:16 p.m.
When you receive information from dispatch, I guess tell us how you receive information from dispatch.
We have a computer in our vehicle.
Hi, Chuck.
And
thank you, Kelly.
Dispatch will automatically dispatch us to it, or if it's a non-priority, it will be put down in the call queue.
Related to this particular location, did you receive information from dispatch about the call for service?
I did.
How did you receive that information?
My computer.
Did you receive information that the dispatch occurred because of a 911 call?
Yes.
As you responded to 712 North, what information did you have about the nature of the emergency?
It was a house fire.
Did you actually arrive at that location?
I did.
Do you recall what time?
Approximately 10:19 p.m.
Were there other law enforcement officers that responded to that location?
Yes.
Thank
Officer
God.
Lazowski, 406.
I don't need you, Zach. I needed you 20 minutes ago, but I don't need you. Stakeout. That's the Silvacchi brothers replaced Stakeout, which was one of my favorite restaurants. Forget it, Zach. I'm good.
With Bristol Police.
Was there a fire department that responded?
I believe it was Bristol Fire, Emergency Medical Services vehicle was there.
Did a fire truck also arrive?
Shortly after my arrival.
Okay, so there's an ambulance there.
Correct.
There are, I would assume, marked police cars there.
Correct.
There is a fire truck that arrives.
Correct.
And the fire truck has fire personnel.
Correct.
I love fire trucks and fire personnel. Yes, I do.
I'm going to show you what has been
Better than
previously
bacon.
admitted as State's Exhibit 3. Do you see that on your screen, Officer Schuster?
I do.
Can you describe for the jury where you parked when you arrived at 712 North Hall?
Approximately 2 houses west on the south side of North Hall. Give room for emergency vehicles.
And what did you do when you got there?
I immediately approached the residence.
What were your initial observations of what was going on at the residence?
I observed smoke coming out of the soffit, the underline of the roof on the edging.
Okay. Did you observe any flames?
I did not.
Is it uncommon that a house is basically just smoking on fire?
That is correct.
It is uncommon, or it's not?
No, it's common. It's common.
Did you observe initially, other than law enforcement and fire and EMS, civilians that were outside of the residence at 712 North?
At the start of the fire, no.
Did you observe any vehicles in the driveway?
No.
Once you arrived, you mentioned that Officer Laskowski was there, correct?
Correct.
Did you each have kind of separate responsibilities at the beginning of the investigation?
Shared responsibilities, yes.
Okay, what were Officer Laskowski's initial responsibilities?
He was first on scene and he checked the residence, tried to see if anyone was inside.
What does that mean, he checked the residence?
He knocked at the front door and checked the windows.
Were there any signs of anybody on the inside of the mobile home?
No, all the lights were off.
What were your initial responsibilities at the scene?
I first also knocked on the door to double check and ensure if I heard anything inside. I also observed that the door was locked. And
Did you make some observations as you strike that? When you approached 712 North Hawthorne, looking at State's Exhibit 3, can you describe for the jury where you approached?
I approached from the driveway.
And where did you go?
In my defense, I think there was 132 times they said that in this hearing. So I got rid of 131. I missed one. I'm a human being. It's all public anyway.
Towards the front door.
In State's Exhibit 3, where is the front door?
On the east side of the residence.
So if we're looking at State's Exhibit 3 and the little orange dot that is 712 North, is that to the right of the dot?
It is to the right.
Okay. Did you make any observations as you approached the doorway?
I observed articles of clothing on hangers leading from the driveway to the front door.
Did you also observe some articles of clothing that might have been on the ground outside the doorway?
On the deck, yes.
What was the next thing that you did kind of when you figured out that there was nobody in the residence?
I assisted the fire engine with unloading the fire hose.
What does that entail?
Just dragging the hose out into the yard as far as you can get it to ensure that they have room to operate the hose.
So you basically stretch it out to make sure the water runs through it?
Yes.
What did you do after that?
I ensured that the residence is 713 on the east side and 711 on the west side.
No way! You're joking! Another Smith, you're kidding me. Oh my gosh. I love Savannah Bananas. I love them. I would love to see them in person. That sounds so fun.
The residents were evacuated.
What was the concern there?
If the fire spreads and becomes large, the heat dissipation could catch the nearby trailers on fire as well.
Did you make contact with people at 713 and 711?
713 was vacant. I looked inside the window, completely vacant. 711 did have residents.
At that time, did you have a full conversation or interview the people at 711 North Hawthorne?
I did not have a full interview, but I did speak with them briefly, and they were unaware of the fire next door.
So they basically told you they hadn't seen anything.
In other terms, you could say that, yes.
Did they, in fact, evacuate their residents?
They did.
As the fire department is working on the house, what are your next responsibilities?
Scene security.
What does that mean?
Just making sure that people will stay back, and it's safety for the firefighters as well as the people around.
Do you set up a perimeter?
Not necessarily like crime scene tape, but I just make sure that people don't get too close.
And as the fire department is working on the house, do you eventually make contact with a woman by the name of Chelsea Reeves?
I do.
How did you end up making contact with her?
She approached the residence.
What was her demeanor like when she approached the residence?
A little shooken up.
Did she identify herself as somebody important to this investigation?
Yes.
Who did she identify herself as? Of 712 North Hawthorne.
Correct.
When you talked with Chelsea, were there other people with her?
Yes.
Do you recall who was with her?
Her son, Trevon Reeves, son's best friend, Caden LeGrand, and then her boyfriend, Terrence Petz.
When you were speaking with Chelsea, did you also get some information from Caden and from Terrence?
Correct.
Okay. So all these people, they talked to you, right, at the scene?
Yes.
Were they cooperative?
Yes.
Did they answer your questions?
Yes.
Did they stick around long enough to answer your questions?
Yes.
So let's start with Chelsea. Did she provide you some information during the course of your conversation that you thought might be helpful to the investigation of the fire?
Yes.
And did you document that in a report that you would have generated pursuant to the investigation?
That is correct.
Did she provide you with some background information of who had been living at the house and then who had maybe come and gone to stay at the house?
Yes.
Did she provide you with the name of an individual that she was concerned may have something to do with the fire?
Yes.
What name did she provide?
Christopher Williams.
Did she also provide you with some information
Yes,
about the vehicle Christopher Williams was driving in September of 2024?
That is correct.
Did you document that as part of your case narrative after, I guess probably after you cleared from the scene?
I did.
Why does patrol do that? Why do they generate reports?
We have to document the incident and it's part of our investigation.
Is there also a possible opportunity for detectives to read those reports prior to them beginning their portion of an investigation?
That is correct.
And are those reports sometimes provided to fire departments, fire marshals, Homeland Security when they do suspicious fire investigations?
That is correct.
Did you speak with Caden LeGrand?
No.
Okay.
Or sorry, yes.
That's okay. And he was one of the people that Chelsea was with, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And he was identified as Travion's
Friend.
Did he indicate that he had been at the residence at the time the fire was started or was going on?
He did.
And did he also provide you with some information that you believe might be helpful in the investigation of the fire?
He did.
Did you document that in your report?
I did.
At some point, you also talked to Terrence. I think his last name is Pettis.
Correct pronunciation, yes.
Okay. And he was identified as Chelsea's boyfriend, correct?
That is correct.
Did you have an opportunity to talk to Travion?
I did.
And did Travion also provide you with some information that you thought was helpful to the investigation?
Yes.
Did Travion indicate that he had also been at the residence at the time that Christopher Williams had been there and then at the time that the fire was going on?
Yes.
During the course of the investigation, was it indicated to you that Bristol fire authorities believed that this was a suspicious fire?
They did.
So were some determinations made on how to proceed with the investigation?
Yes.
From a sheriff's office patrol standpoint, what happened at that time?
So I had already previously spoken with my supervisor, and he was dealing with getting the on-call detective. The fire department was initially unsure until they had the fire out. Then they decided that they would contact the fire marshal.
Did you ever go into 712 North Hall?
I had not.
Was that a responsibility of the fire department's investigation?
Yes.
Did you ever collect any evidence?
No.
Was that also the fire department's responsibility?
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong, but wouldn't a sprinkler system in a trailer just be super cheap and easy? They have, like when they install the sink and they install the tub, two sprinklers, wouldn't that just be super cheap and easy in every single trailer? I get it why they're not in every single home where you have to lay pipe and run it all over the place, but in a trailer, why don't we have sprinkler systems in trailers? What would be so expensive about that?
Responsibility,
Yes.
or perhaps the fire investigator.
Yes.
Was the scene secured by law enforcement?
It was.
What does that mean?
So I stayed on the scene from the moment that fire arrived shortly after me, as in the fire engine, CMS was already there. And then I ensured that no one went into the building other than emergency services, the firefighters. And afterwards, I ensured that the residence was secured.
Does that mean locked?
So usually the fire department will actually board up all the windows and if need be, the door. So no one can have access.
Were you aware that Chelsea and Caden and Trey were displaced from that residence that evening?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Sure. Did you become aware that they were not going to be able to stay at that house
Yes,
because of the damage?
that's correct.
And ultimately they had to go find a
You mean trailer walls and stuff are not thick enough to like hide the pipe behind? So what? So there's a little pipe that runs up. I don't see how that's a big deal. Because trailers nowadays are pretty freaking expensive. They're as expensive as a home. You know, $100,000 to move into a... Yeah, but the sink does. Josh, doesn't the sink have one all the time? It's just one more little pipe right to the top. I don't get it. I don't understand why it would be hard. What is hard about it? Like, actually. Not generally. What is actually hard about a pipe that goes up and over from the sink? Just a small little pipe. It's just a small thing that goes up the wall into the center of the ceiling. Sprinklers can't be that expensive. Okay, but lots of buildings, all the commercial buildings have sprinkles that don't leak. So, yeah, sometimes a sprinkler leaks, but that's not normal. Laying pipe ain't cheap, man. Yeah, it is. Pipes aren't expensive. It's not expensive. I don't understand. I just don't. Like, no trailer should burn down. They're laying pipe for a sink. You're laying pipe for a tub. Oh, you have a couple sinks in a trailer. So right from that sink, you could just put a sprinkle right there. A sprinkler.
hotel to
Now
stay
I
in.
want sprinkles on my ice cream.
Once the residence was secured, and I think maybe Chelsea had found some lodging, did you have any other responsibilities pursuant to this investigation?
No.
Those are all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Clay.
Thank you, Judge.
Very cross-examination, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I can go to Walmart right now and get 2 Choco fire sprinkle heads for $7.76. 2 of them. That's all I want in a trailer, the front and the back. There's a sink in the bathroom. There's a sink in the kitchen. That is not expensive. Okay, hold on. All right. All right, per foot. $16 for a 36-inch plumb flex 3/4-inch pipe. That is not expensive. It's not. Don't forget about tax. You right. You right. Now I still want sprinkles on my ice cream.
Can I call you Patrolman Schuster?
Absolutely.
Thank you. While you were at 712, that being 712 Hawthorne, you spoke with several witnesses,
That is correct.
kids from the house,
That is correct.
and the homeowner or lessee, Chelsea,
That is correct.
and her
I'm
boyfriend,
always
Terrence.
looking for
That's
pipe. Always.
You were wearing a body camera at that time,
That is correct.
recorded nearly 2 hours of body camera footage, didn't you?
That is correct.
Some of it was just maybe
No, Bobby, they could put it in when they build the trailer. They could just run it when they build the trailer. They're already installing pipes. They already have the water hookup. It's just pipe, bend, pipe, sprinkle head. You only need one
taking notes in a vehicle.
near every sink. That's 2. And then the trailers wouldn't burn down.
It was. Yeah.
Clearing the scene, so to speak. And you were also recording conversations with firefighters, right?
That is correct.
You spoke with Terrence Pettis,
Pettis, yes,
Chelsea Reeves,
that is correct.
Travion Reeves,
That is correct.
and Caden LeGrand.
That is correct.
And you were asked by Ms. Clays if you did a report,
By who?
police report. Ms. Clays, the prosecutor.
Yes,
And you did do a report.
that is correct.
The kids advised that they had been at the house and they called the fire department.
That is correct.
Okay. You also spoke with a Gabrielle Caudle,
Was it the girlfriend of one of them?
14-year-old girl, correct?
Correct.
And you were made aware that she was at the house at the time of the fire, correct?
That is correct.
I mean, is that correct?
That is correct.
She's not in your report, is she?
No,
Okay. Was she gave your date of birth?
she did. I believe so.
Okay. Did you find out she was 14 years old?
No,
Okay. But she gave you her date of birth.
yes,
At that trailer park, are you aware if there is a park there for kids or?
there is, if I remember correctly, a park to the west of the residence.
Okay. Is basketball court?
I could not tell you off the top of my head.
Is there a reason why you did not list Gabriella Caudle in your report?
At the time, I did not feel the need
Kelly,
for,
that is too many words. All right. Safety standards. The standard for installing fire sprinkling system in 1 for 2 family dwellings as well as manufactured homes focused on providing affordable high-level life safety, mandatory installation. Some jurisdictions, such as Riverside County, California, have mandated the installation of automatic residential fire sprinkler systems in all new manufactured homes. That makes sense to me. Type of systems can vary: wet pipes, dry pipes, pre-action, deluge. It doesn't say anything about prices or anything, but that makes sense. I think 2 sprinkle systems, T, would work. Absolutely work. I mean, some things might still get fire damage, but the whole neighborhood won't burn down. You know?
anything from her.
Okay. However, she was at the house at the time of the fire
Yes,
with her boyfriend Travion.
yes.
I pass the witness.
Thank you, Mr. Jerry. Be direct, Ms. Clay.
Can I have just 1 second, Your Honor?
Sure, take 2.
Thank you. I have no redirect, thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, do you have any questions for Patrolman Schuster? If you do, please raise your hand. I see no hands raised. Release from Ms. Subpoena, Ms. Clay.
No.
Patrolman Schuster, thank you for your testimony. You are not released from your subpoena, so you may leave the courtroom, but you are under subpoena and you will not be released until Ms. Clays tells you that you're released. Do you understand?
I understand, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if I may, I would also like to have him kept on his subpoena.
Well, since I'm not releasing him from his subpoena, you'll be kept on your subpoena for purposes of testifying on behalf of Mr. Majerik's case in chief in addition to the state's case in chief. Do you understand?
I understand.
So in other words, until both attorneys or the court releases you from your subpoena, you're still under subpoena. Do you understand, Patrolman Schuster?
I understand, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now you may leave the courtroom.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Counsel, good time to break.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you're all jurors in this case. I must tell you now, and I'll repeat this again. Each time you're permitted to separate, generally you should not express any opinion about the case before it is submitted to you for deliberation. However, you are permitted to discuss the evidence presented in this case among yourselves in the jury room during recesses from trial. All jurors and audience must be present during these discussions, and you must reserve judgment about the outcome of the case until your deliberations begin. You're admonished that you may not discuss the facts of the case with anyone other than your fellow jurors. You may not listen to discussions and will receive information
5 out of 4 people think math is hard.
from other people about the case. You may not discuss this case with me, the lawyers, the parties, or with any of the witnesses, members of the media, or anyone else. This includes posting information, text messaging, email, internet chat rooms, blogs, or social websites. You should not listen to, read, or watch anything about the case from any source. You may not investigate the case, conduct experiments, or attempt to gain any specialized knowledge about the case outside the courtroom, and it's highly improper for you to do so. You're to consider and decide this case only upon the evidence received during the course of the trial in the courtroom, not from any outside source. You are not permitted to use electronic devices while in attendance at trial, during discussion, or during deliberations unless specifically authorized by the court. I would ask that you be back in the jury assembly room tomorrow morning at 8:15. We're going to try and get you up here and start right at 8:30 a.m. with the state's case in chief, further witnesses and evidence. One other cautionary note. I think it is extremely hot in here. I'm probably the only one who thinks so. I am going to try and get the heat to go down, get the temperature to go down. And I think this is much like when I talk to many people, and you may all think judges have a lot of authority. You're going to find out how little I have. I doubt that I'm going to be able to get this to go down. If I can, I will. I would suggest you bring additional clothing. I used to keep it like a meat locker at the old circuit court, which I dearly miss. You can leave everything that you have there where you're seated. You're coming back to that seat. So you can leave your notebooks there. You can leave your pen there. You can leave whatever you want to leave at that seat. It'll all be here when you get back. I don't think I've forgotten anything. I'm going to put you in charge of the bailiff. She may have some additional instructions for you. Enjoy your evening. I'll see you here tomorrow morning. Thank you.
All right.
I plan on starting the next one tonight and going about an additional hour. That's my plan. I'm going to go another hour into part 2 right now.
Back on the record for day 2 of the trial, State of Indiana versus Christopher Williams,
Why?
20 CL1 2501F.
Why can't you say hot flash? It looks like you did. Or is it one word? I don't know why you can't. I didn't. I would love to ban hot flashes, but I can't. So I don't know why you can't say it. Hot flash. I'm trying to think what's bad about that.
4-3. State of Indiana is in court by Deputy Prosecuting Attorneys Don Pitzer and Kathleen Clays. Defendant Christopher Williams appears in person by his attorney, Jeffrey Majerick. Ms. Clays, ready to get the jury in?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Majerick, ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Bring the jury in, please.
Your Honor, I wanted to mention one of my witnesses who's going to show up this morning. I need to go outside and chat with her briefly.
That's fine. As long as I have, look, as long as I have one of you in court, you know this. As long as I have one of you in court, I don't care. Do whatever you need to do. I want one of you in here at all times, but it doesn't matter.
Thank you. I did not mean to be
You
disrespectful.
can enter and leave as you need. Mr. Majerick, that's not true for you unless you get another attorney down there. And Mr. Williams, it's never going to be true for you. Sorry, it's never going to be true for you.
It didn't have to be here, but it's at his peril.
It would be less problematic if he didn't show up for the beginning than if he leaves after it starts. That's my point.
We've seen that happen.
That's correct.
Well, Matt and I have seen that.
There he is. All right. He's allegedly burnt this down. Or the kid who lives there who loves fire allegedly burnt this down. We don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to hear the testimony.
Well, they show the confession on the screen and then go to lunch and they don't come back. I'm standing on the steps of the old.
Judge
Welcome back
muted it.
for day 3 of the trial. When we recessed last evening,
It's day 3 because I skipped all of day 1. It was, I have it. We can watch it if you want. It was just jury selection of Verdire and jury instructions, and I didn't want to see it.
the state of Indiana was in the midst of its case in chief. That will proceed this morning with further evidence and testimony, Ms. Clays.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Detective Austin Laux.
Come forward, face
I like
me,
her.
raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm under the pains and pains of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth?
I do.
Have a seat in the witness chair.
Thank you, Brown. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, there's some inappropriate videos in members only area. Now you've been warned.
After you get comfortable, please spell your name for the court report, your full name.
Austin Laux, AUSTINLOUCKS.
Thank you. Direct, Ms. Clays.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Detective Laux.
Good morning.
How are you currently employed?
I'm employed at the Sheriff's Office, Elkhart County,
How long have you been at the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office?
since 2016.
Are you a police officer or law enforcement officer with the Sheriff's Office?
I am.
Prior to your position as an officer or a police officer, were you also a correctional officer at the jail?
I was.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about your experience with that?
I got hired on in 2016. I was a correctional officer at the jail for 2 years, basically taking care of inmates, safety and security of the facility, dealing with intakes, a lot of release paperwork, and I was a field training officer at the jail as well.
During your time as a corrections officer, what training did you receive to be able to handle your responsibilities at the jail?
There's an FTO program, field training officer program. It's about 2 months-ish long. There's also a jail school that I think it's, if I'm remembering correctly, about 40-hour classroom. And then the sheriff's office also holds training annually. And if something comes up that requires training, there's constant training.
Similar to being a law enforcement officer, is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you were hired as a police officer with the Sheriff's Office, did you complete the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy?
I did.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about your experience at the Law Enforcement Academy?
I want to say I went in 2018. I graduated in May 2019, so it's about 16 to 18 weeks. It's a pretty long time there. There's 4 weeks where you do shooting, defensive tactics training, stops, so traffic stops. There's another week of, can't remember what the 4th week is off the top of my head. Those are all 40 hours dedicated specifically to those things. There's criminal law, there's traffic law, tons of training throughout every week.
Where is the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy?
It's near Indy, Plainfield, Indiana.
And you actually go and live there, right, for the time that you're training?
Yeah, I slept in a dorm with 3 other guys, and yeah.
Kind of like college.
Yeah.
And you have to complete that successfully to become a law enforcement officer in the state of Indiana, correct?
Correct.
When you returned to the Sheriff's Office after that training, did you participate in the field training program?
I did.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about your experience with that?
That's another training, not dissimilar from the jail, but it's you're writing, it's kind of an I, we, you system where the field training officer will kind of start running calls, and then we do the calls together, and then I take over the calls kind of situation. It's about 2 to 3 months. You learn as many different types of calls for service as possible, from domestic to shooting to anything that comes up, really, in traffic stops, things like that. Eventually, after you're off of the field training program, you kind of ride solo, but you've got someone kind of watching over you in a probationary period for a year.
You are currently a detective with the county sheriff's office, right? Is that right?
Correct.
How long were you a patrol officer?
I think somewhere between 5 and 6 years. I got hired as a detective, but I was still working the road for a period of time because the manpower for the road was more important at the time. And then eventually I came up to the bureau. So I got the title, but I kept working the road for a little while. So it's kind of weird where the hire date is as a detective and once I actually started doing the job.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about what manpower is as it relates to law enforcement work?
Yeah, so I don't know what the minimum manpower is. The general requirement that the county sets for how many people, how many bodies of officers we want on the road at any given time. I'm not sure what the numbers are right now. I want to say about 8 for the county, between 7 and 8. I think when I started it was about 6. And so when I got hired as a detective, our numbers weren't quite there. We had to wait for some people to come on, and then eventually I went up when that was satisfied.
During the time working patrol for the county sheriff's office, did you participate in any specialty units or specialty training?
Yeah, again, the amount of training I've received throughout the years it's constant and updating and all that. I am a UAV drone operator, certified with the FAA to fly drone for the sheriff's department. I'm also a computer voice stress analyst. It's a truth verification type test, very interview based. I've received tons of interview training. I think we did one this year, one last year. I think one when I started in patrol as well.
There's also lots of recertification training that you have to keep up with every year as a law enforcement officer. Is that accurate?
Correct.
What training specifically do you have to complement your responsibilities as a detective?
The big one would probably be interview training, interview interrogation, talking with people. Luckily, I'm pretty outgoing and can talk to people naturally, so it feels pretty natural to me already. There's a little bit of extra evidence collection, things that we do. It's not much more expanded on than patrol, but a little bit more.
Other than talking to people, interviewing, interrogation, what other responsibilities do you maintain as a detective?
I have a caseload. I get assigned cases that come from patrol, things that require some sort of follow-up investigation. And follow-up investigation can be anything as little as just talking to a couple people to extra evidence collection, taking photographs. Evidence is a very broad way to describe it, but just gathering more information.
Might there be different investigations that require different kinds of investigation as a detective?
Absolutely. For domestics, generally, you're looking for the house and the people involved, and a couple outcry witnesses, whereas something more severe, you could be looking into cell phones, you could be looking into vehicles. It's, yeah.
Case by case basis?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the structure of the detective bureau at the sheriff's office, okay? In September of 2024, do you recall approximately how many detectives were assigned to the bureau and actually working the bureau?
I want to say 8 or 9 specific detectives. And then we have a detective lieutenant, detective captain that don't actively, every now and then the lieutenant will pick up a case, but they're not actively investigating.
Do they get to do the fun cases?
If the lieutenant wants to, he may.
Okay. Are there areas of specialization within the detective bureau?
Yeah, there are 3 specialty units. There's the special victims unit. Those guys will handle domestics, batteries, intimidation, invasion of privacy cases. There's the property crimes unit, which I'm a part of. Anything involving property, theft, arson, burglary, things of that nature. And then we have a child victims unit. Anytime a child is a victim of a crime, those guys handle that.
Why is it that the bureau is broken up that way? Why don't all detectives investigate all crimes?
Because when you're working for, I can speak mostly to property crimes because I've worked that the longest, is you're dealing with a lot of the same guys, a lot of the same thieves, and then the themes, for lack of a better term, are very similar. We're looking for, the cases are very similar, so we become kind of experts in that area.
Do you develop skills that are specialized towards those kind of crimes?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you also develop professional relationships with other?
It says there were 27,000 reported arson offenses in the United States in 2025. That seems like a lot. A lot, doesn't it? I know it's big, but 27,000?
Agencies or...
I wonder how many of those were accidental. Could you have accidental arson, or if it's arson? If they use the word arson, is that criminal? Always criminal. And I wonder how many of those are businesses and not homes.
Or let's say fire departments that also specialize in investigating those kinds of crimes.
Yes, and I'd include organizations such as like Walmart. They get stolen from all the time, and having those relationships kind of eases the process to get the investigation going as fast as possible.
Is it helpful to have an area of expertise so that you kind of know from beginning to end how to investigate that kind of crime?
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about what the lieutenant and captain responsibilities are within the...
Also, I wonder, so like in Pennsylvania, the governor's mansion was set on fire recently, and that arsonist, he was charged like with more than one count of arson. I don't know how many counts. Let's just say 5. That's a number I'm picking. I don't know how many counts, but I know it was not one. It was more than one. So that's 5 counts of arson. I wonder if that 5 is included in the national number of 27,000, or if that only counts as one in that number.
Detective Bureau?
Generally, they review our cases. They also review the detectives' cases before we send them to the prosecutor's office for review. They also have the responsibility of assigning us the cases. So patrol starts an investigation, a theft from a vehicle where there's no cameras, or there are cameras, they'll decide if there's enough for a detective to investigate that for follow-up.
In this case, there's 1 count of arson and 1 count of intimidation.
Or not, and then they'll assign that. So generally checking reports, assigning them to the detectives, and then when the reports are completed, deciding if that needs to go to the prosecutor's office or not.
Do they also deal with administrative issues within the Detective Bureau?
Yeah, their personnel, yeah.
Scheduling, budgeting, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Does the Detective Bureau have an on-call rotation?
We do.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about that?
Every week, Monday 8 a.m. to Monday at 8 a.m., we have a single detective on call at any given time throughout the year. I think what comes into rotation, I think I'm on call about 4 or 5 times a year for a week. We can be called out for essentially any reason, but generally it's crimes that require immediate follow-up, something the patrol can't handle. Sometimes it may be even a manpower issue with patrol. They simply don't have the resources to deal with this issue at any given time, so we'll come out and help them out.
So in that circumstance, an on-call detective might be called in a crime that he doesn't have a specialty area in.
Yeah, that's fair.
What happens ultimately to those investigations if one of those officers or one of those detectives is called in for an area that he doesn't specialize in?
If a detective gets called, so on property crimes, if I get called out for a domestic battery or something, I will complete as much of the investigation as I can that night or day, whatever. And then the next day, I'll brief the whole detective bureau on what I was called out for, what still may need to be done, and then we'll work with the special victims unit. Generally, they'll just take over the case from there if there's more to do.
You also mentioned that other than being on call and maybe being assigned an investigation, you receive investigations from patrol.
We somewhat receive them from patrol. They go through a process where they get reviewed by their sergeant, they get reviewed by our lieutenant or captain, and then assigned to us. So somewhat directly to us.
On what basis would a patrol investigation need follow-up?
Jen, thank you for the PayPal tip. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
It's case by case. If they did not canvass the area for cameras, if they didn't talk to someone involved in the case, sometimes interviews need to be done again. It's very expansive.
In any particular investigation, what is your goal as a detective?
To find the truth, and that generally comes from corroborating or contradictory evidence that I've found throughout my course of the investigation.
If you are assigned an investigation, not from an on-call situation, so you're receiving it from the roundabout patrol cycle, how would you begin your investigation?
I will review the written reports of the officers. Generally, that's the most efficient way to do it. If there's something I read in the report that requires me to watch full body cam, I will. Sometimes I'll piecemeal body cam So that's generally the very first thing I'll do. And then the next thing I'll do is usually contact the victim, let them know I've been assigned, and try to keep them updated on where we're at.
What is body cam footage?
We have a camera that looks like a cell phone that's attached to all of our guys.
What is body cam
on patrol and then bureau. We have they're on lanyards because we don't get to wear the nice uniform. Well, we can if we want, but we don't wear the uniforms that have the mount in them. But they record when you are dispatched to a scene. When you activate them manually, some patrol guys, it's if you draw your gun, they automatically activate. They're then uploaded to a cloud-based system. I can't remember the company, Core Force.
And is it fair to say that once it's uploaded into that cloud, the footage is not editable?
Correct.
Do some or most patrol vehicles also come equipped with in-car camera footage?
Yes, there's one that faces forward, so you can kind of get an officer's point of view from the driver's seat. And then there's also a rear-facing cam that can see the cage in the back of the car.
What's the cage?
Where you would transport anybody, really, not necessarily someone who's committed a crime, but anytime you transport somebody, they'll be in the back.
So there's a safety divider essentially between the front and the back seat
Yes.
to make sure that officers are kept safe while they're transporting an individual.
Yeah.
Might you also listen to 911 calls for a particular investigation or incident?
Yes.
As your investigation proceeds, what steps might you take to gather additional evidence?
Knocking on doors is the big one. Contacting the victim, see if we can arrange some interviews. I mean, again, it's so broad that I can't say in one particular way or another.
You mentioned that some investigations might involve surveillance footage.
Sure, yeah.
Would it be fair to say that some might involve digital evidence like cell phone data, social media?
Yeah.
You might be searching for a particular vehicle.
Yes.
What is, I guess, the main way that you would look for a particular vehicle that might have been involved in an incident?
The first way would generally be surveillance to get an idea of what the vehicle is. If we already have an idea of what the vehicle is, the main system we use is the flock safety system.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about the flock safety system?
So throughout,
I don't want to know about this. This is the part I don't want to hear about.
the county, the city, pretty much all across the United States, technically anybody can purchase one of these cameras and have them mounted on private property. But the county has a few, the city has a bunch. There are these cameras mounted all over, and they essentially read license plates. They give you a date, time, and location of when that license plate was read. They're very excellent tools for finding vehicles. Stolen vehicles will pop up as an alert on the system. People with warrants, if they're registered to that vehicle, it may pop.
How do you as a law enforcement officer access that system?
It's a web-based system, name, password.
And once you get into the system, what kind of information do you need or do you utilize to be able to find particular vehicles?
It depends on how much information I have. If I have no specific information, so if I don't know the license plate of a vehicle, I will generally just select, there's three main ways. Select cameras in the area with a time frame and review. Could be potentially hundreds of vehicles. If I have a license plate, I can simply type in the license plate number and a time frame for that vehicle, and it will show me any time that vehicle is driven by any camera. We now have radius searches, which are really helpful. There's a bunch of different ways we can search. You can search by color of the vehicle, body type, so SUV, passenger car, station wagon, van, semi, trailers. There's tons of ways you can search.
How is the flock system helpful in corroborating or contradicting evidence in any particular investigation?
Generally, putting a vehicle in an area associated with a person is very helpful for obvious reasons. Timeline, I would say, is also very important. It shows someone coming towards the location and or leaving, one or the other. You can't always guarantee they're going to drive by a camera at any given time, but it is very helpful when we have that information.
As you proceed with your investigation, are you making determinations as you kind of move along as to what additional evidence may be important to gather?
Sure.
And you mentioned that it's ultimately different in every situation.
Yes.
Once you have gathered all of the once you have gathered the information that you believe to be relevant and available, what do you do with that information?
I'll button it up in a tiny little packet and I will send it to the prosecutor's office. They ultimately have the responsibility of deciding charging information or not.
What do you send to the prosecutor's office?
In terms of, I send everything that I've got. I've sent any evidence I've collected, all reports that are made from me to patrol to other detectives, body cam footage, surveillance, any evidence related to the case. We'll figure out a way to get it to the prosecutor's office.
Is it accurate that there is a digital, I guess, cloud system where digital evidence can be uploaded and viewed by both the law enforcement agency and the prosecutor's office?
Yes.
Is there also a evidence storage room at the Elkhart County Sheriff's Office that you may enter?
I think that should be public information. I want to log into that system and see all the evidence from all the cases.
Physical evidence into?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury a little bit about how that happens?
So if we get anything that physically we have to collect, we will package it appropriately, depending on if it's a drug or a firearm or ammunition. We'll package it appropriately, we'll label it, we will
always package your drugs appropriately. That's what you've learned so far.
enter it into our report management system, and then we will physically enter it into a locker. CSI then does their little magic and moves it from the locker to another secure storage area that only they access.
And the CSI technicians are the only ones that have access to that room after it's put into after the evidence is put into the locker, correct?
Other people can access it, but I've only been in there with their permission, and then you have to sign in. Everybody that goes through there signs in, signs out.
So it's a secure area.
It is a secure area within a secure building.
Do you also document your progress, your investigative progress, through a report system?
Yes.
Might that include summaries of interviews?
Yes.
Might that include your general observations at a scene?
Yes.
So anything that you do as part of your portion of the investigation, you document in a report?
As much as possible, yeah.
I want to direct your attention to an investigation at 712 North Hawthorne around the time of September 8th of 2024, okay? Were you working at the sheriff's office as a detective at that time?
I was.
And did you become involved in an investigation at that location regarding a suspicious fire?
I was.
Do you recall when you became involved in that investigation?
So the incident took place on the 8th, I believe. I was assigned the 9th the next day.
Do you recall if you were the on-call detective at that time?
I don't remember offhand. I remember being briefed on this case, and we were talking about there's been some issues with on-call every now and then that patrol will sometimes call, sometimes they won't. Anytime there's a suspicious fire, we should be called out. So,
is it possible that there was another detective on call that may have been called and then briefed you later?
yes, yeah, absolutely.
How did you become involved in the investigation?
I was assigned to it by my lieutenant.
And you testified that that was on the 9th of September?
As far as I remember, yeah.
When you were assigned the investigation, did you in fact do some of the things that you previously testified to investigate the fire?
I did. I believe the first thing I did was review the case, and I noted that photographs weren't taken. So I think the first thing that I did was coordinated with assistant fire chief, James, and we went out to the house and took photographs.
Would assistant chief, I think it's James Haynes, does that sound right?
That sounds correct, yeah.
Is he with the Bristol Fire Department?
Yes.
Did you read the patrol reports ahead of time?
I did. Officer Schuster's report and I believe Aiden's report as well. That or I found that he had gone out to the house soon around that time.
Is it possible through whatever digital system that the sheriff's department uses or sheriff's office uses, that you can search for a specific location and the reports that were generated for that particular location?
Yeah, I have that ability as well as our computer-aided dispatch system. We can look up a historical. It's only a week at a time, so it can be kind of difficult. But I believe I searched the computer-aided dispatch system and saw a call for service that there was an area check or loud music call around the time of reported fire.
Based upon your reading of the patrol reports, did you find some information that was helpful regarding a suspect?
I did. They had named a suspect.
Who was the suspect?
Christopher Williams was the name.
You mentioned that you thought it important to go back to 712 North Hawthorne and take some photographs, correct?
Yes,
Did you do that?
I did.
Can you talk to the jury a little bit about how law enforcement is able to collect evidence at any particular scene? Meaning, how are they able to physically pick it up off the ground and take it somewhere? That's probably a bad question. Let's talk a little bit about search warrants versus consent.
Okay.
So how is it that law enforcement can access a particular scene if it's owned by somebody and take evidence away?
Right. So there are essentially two ways, as you had mentioned, consent or via search warrant. If we have permission from the homeowner or whoever may own a property, say even a vehicle, they can verbally give us consent to search said vehicle. They can also stop us at any time when we have consent. And the other option is for a search warrant. In the event that even a victim doesn't want me going in their house to take photographs, I would have to apply for a search warrant and get access that way.
Can you be a little bit more specific about what a search warrant is?
Search warrant is establishing that there's some sort of probable cause that a crime has happened at this location, this date, this time. A lot of specifics go into that.
Are those prepared by law enforcement officers?
They are.
And are they reviewed and signed by judges in the county?
They are.
In this particular case, how were you able to take photographs at the mobile home?
I got consent from the homeowner.
And who was the homeowner?
Chelsea Reeves.
So she was cooperative.
Correct.
She allowed you on the property.
She did.
She allowed you to take photographs.
She did.
Would it be fair to say that she also allowed Fire Marshal or Fire Chief Haynes and then also Fire Investigator O'Brien onto the property?
I can't speak to O'Brien, but I'm for sure. I know that James Haynes was allowed as well.
Was Fire Marshal Haynes present when you took the photographs?
He was. The door to the home was secured. I can't remember if there was a plywood door on there or not, but I remember there was a padlock that he had the key to. He unlocked the home so I could take photographs inside.
So you went inside the residence.
I did.
Can you tell the jury, when you get to the mobile home, can you tell the jury what your observations were on the outside of the residence?
I remember, I want to say on the south side of the home, when I was taking photographs, there was smoke underneath the roofing, as if fire had kind of curled up around the house or smoke traveled that way. And that was the most significant area outside the home that was damaged. There was a broken window. That was the most significant thing outside, was on the south side of the house. There was a lot of smoke damage.
Did you observe any gas or electrical meters on the outside of the property?
I don't remember.
Okay. Would you have taken photographs of the outside of the property?
I did.
Can you tell the jury what your observations were as you stepped into 712 North Hawthorne?
I think the first thing I noticed was there was still some water on the ground, probably an inch. And then the next thing I would have seen probably was some blackened walls from smoke damage. As you walked to the left, to the south side of the home, you could see it kind of got thicker, the black soot on the walls. And there was a bathroom on the south side that appeared to be the most damaged. The walls weren't drywall; they were like a laminate, and there were spots where they were bubbling, like air had expanded and bubbled behind the walls. So more heat there as well.
Did you go into the north end of the mobile home?
I did.
What were your observations there?
I want to say one looked like a kid's room, possibly, and the walls were black soot and everything was smoke damaged.
Were they as black as the south end of the residence?
Don't believe so.
Is it fair to say that it is not your responsibility in these kinds of investigations to ultimately determine things like point of origin or who started the fire or how the fire started?
Correct. I'm not an arson investigator.
So what are your responsibilities?
My responsibilities are figuring out if there was in fact a crime that was committed first and foremost, and then collect all evidence, talk to everybody involved, coordinate with the fire marshal to see what his observations were.
And do you collaborate with some of those other people to ultimately determine whether there is a crime that you believe has been committed?
Yeah, it's a team effort, absolutely. And I've done a lot of work with Tanner, especially as of late. Yeah.
Are you talking about Investigator O'Brien?
Yes.
Okay. Did you collect any physical evidence besides taking the photographs?
I don't believe so.
Why would law enforcement not have that responsibility in a suspicious fire investigation?
In a suspicious fire investigation, more often than not, the fire marshal may collect anything of that nature. If I saw anything obvious that someone, a layman like me, could identify as gas tanks, something ridiculous, lighters, I may collect those items and then coordinate with him. Maybe he needs to take those into custody. Yeah.
Is it fair to say that fire investigators have more specialized training in what evidence is important and what needs to be collected?
Absolutely.
Did you do anything else at the residence besides do a walkthrough and take photos?
I don't believe so.
Throughout the course of your investigation, did you interview any witnesses?
I interviewed 3 people.
Who did you interview?
Chelsea Reeves, Caden LeGrand, I believe, and Trey Reeves. I can't think of his full name. I just remember Trey.
How is Trey?
He did not interview Gabby. I don't know why. They said they're not going to call Gabby. She was one of the children in the house when the fire started. And they said they're going to find out. We're going to find out why they didn't interview Gabby. He did not interview Gabby.
Related to Chelsea.
Trey is her son, I believe.
And were you aware, or did you become aware that Caden and Trey had been in the mobile home at the time that either the fire was started or while it was occurring?
Yes, that was information provided from the reports, the initial officers' reports. I believe they named those guys in the house, those kids.
Do you recall what date you interviewed them?
I believe September 11th. What is this, 2024, right?
Yeah. Where did those interviews take place?
They were at the sheriff's office. I believe actually that day I had another interview scheduled and they had come it was an unscheduled interview, so it kind of caught me off guard, but with them being there, I took the opportunity to talk to everybody.
So they just showed up at the department?
I think so.
Right. They were cooperative?
Yes.
They answered questions?
Yes.
Was there anything that you asked them that they refused to answer?
No.
Did you interview them separately?
I interviewed Caden because I believe he was 20 at the time. And then Chelsea was present. He was 14 or so at the time. And then Chelsea I interviewed on her own. Hers was very short.
Were you aware that she was not present at the time that the fire was occurring?
Yeah, I found that out at some point.
Did Chelsea, Caden, and Trey all provide information that you believed was helpful in the investigation?
Yeah, the information they provided was pretty much on track with what the initial officer had found. Everything appeared to be lining up with what
I'm going to go grab a drink real quick, so behave, okay?
they initially stated in their interviews with the initial officer.
So you were aware that they had also been on scene and provided information to, I think it was Officer Schuster?
That sounds right.
And the information that they provided to you during those interviews was consistent with what they told Officer Schuster?
Correct.
Did you become aware throughout the course of the investigation that there was also a Gabby Caudle that had been in the mobile home with Trey and Caden?
Yes, I remember the first name, Gabby. I don't remember the last name, if I'm being honest.
At some point, was she added to the case information?
I listed her in my report, in my narrative. I don't know if a specific name module was made for her, but she was named.
Did you interview Gabby?
I did not.
Why did you not interview Gabby?
I could not locate her. Being a 14-year-old girl, it's kind of difficult to find that type of person without knowing their parents' information. I want to say I made a phone call to the number provided and I got nothing.
Did you feel somewhat uncomfortable trying to reach out to a 14-year-old girl without being able to have contact with the parent first?
Correct. It would be a lot more professional to reach out to a parent before.
Based upon information that was either in the case reports that you read or information that Chelsea, Caden, and Trey gave you, did you have a description of a vehicle that was used by Christopher Williams at the date and time of the incident?
Yeah, it was pretty consistent that it was some sort of, at first it was a black, some sort of GM vehicle, so Cadillac, GMC, Chevrolet, and then it narrowed down to a black Cadillac, I believe, SUV.
Did you use an investigative technique to attempt to corroborate the information you had on the vehicle?
Yeah, I utilized the flock safety system to try to locate said vehicle.
Walk us through how you used Flock to locate the vehicle.
So like I said, there's kind of three main ways to search on Flock. I can't tell you specifically how I had found a vehicle, whether it was, because at some point in the investigation, it was found that it was not his vehicle, it was his mother's. I'm
sorry, when you say his, who do you mean? It was not his vehicle.
It's not registered to him.
To who?
To Christopher Williams,
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It's possible that, I can't tell you exactly how I searched for this one, but it's possible that I found her information. Yvette Green, I believe was her name, and then vehicles registered to her. And then I found that there was a black Cadillac Escalade registered to her, and I possibly just searched for the license plate and found certain results. It's possible that I searched a radius, so cameras in the area, given a time frame of, say, an hour and a half before and an hour after the crime. I could have selected certain cameras for a black Cadillac SUV and found the vehicle that way. So there's a number of ways I could have found the vehicle, but I did find a vehicle.
Ultimately, were you able to determine the registered owner of the vehicle?
Yes.
And you mentioned that was Yvette Green.
Correct.
Were you able to determine a license plate number?
I was.
Were you able to determine the relationship between Yvette Green and Christopher Williams?
I was.
And who was Yvette Green to Christopher Williams?
His mother.
In September of 2024, where did Yvette Green live?
Niles, Ontario Drive Road.
And did you become aware in speaking with Yvette Green that Christopher Williams had been staying at that Niles location in September of 2024?
Staying at the location and driving a black Cadillac SUV.
How many, I'm going to call them hits, how many flock hits did you get around the time of the suspicious fire for this particular vehicle?
I believe I found 3 significant to this case in the time frame.
I would anticipate that you didn't search like early morning.
It's not uncommon actually to, especially if our flock hits, as you said, are at night. Oftentimes I will use a daytime search to look at what that vehicle looks like in the daytime, but not as relevant to the case.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Detective Labs, I'm going to hand you what have been marked for demonstration purposes of safety exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Can you go ahead and just take a look at those and let me know when you're done? Have you been able to review them?
Yes.
What are states 4 and 5?
4 and 5 are the flock images. Flock takes anywhere between 1 to 3 photos, I believe, of a vehicle as it passes by. It'll get an overall image of the vehicle, and then it also gets a zoomed in photo of the license plate.
In states 4 and 5, do we see either the whole vehicle or the license plate of the vehicle that was associated with Christopher Williams on September 8th of 2024?
In Exhibit 4, it's the overall image of the vehicle, and then 5 is specific to the license plate. It's pretty dark.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah.
What is in States Exhibit 4, what is the time stamp on States Exhibit 4?
The date is 9/8/2024, and it's 8:31 Central Time,
Okay, so what would that be in Eastern Standard?
9:31.
9:31, okay. And State's Exhibit 6, what do we see in State's Exhibit 6?
For the timestamp, it's very blurred
No,
out.
I'm sorry, State's Exhibit 6.
Oh, I apologize.
That's okay.
This is, so there's a overall image of a map over County Road 17 and State Road 120 in the county, and it's got a red pin a little bit south of where the camera is, I want to say. It's the intersection of 17 and 120, it looks like.
Do the flock images, when you're able to view them, give a location?
Yeah, there's latitude and longitude coordinates of.
So it tells you which camera is picking up that particular image, correct?
Yeah, in two ways. We name the camera. So in Exhibit 4, we have camera Elkhart County Sheriff's Office, number 9, County Road 17 north at State Road 120 southbound. So that's the description and then the latitude and longitude.
Okay, so our State's Exhibits 4 and 5, true and accurate copies or depictions of the flock image, the first flock images that you generated regarding the vehicle with Christopher Williams.
Yeah, they're accurate.
And in State's Exhibit 6, a true and accurate or fair and accurate depiction of the location in Elkhart County where the flock camera for State's Exhibits 4 and 5 was located.
The red pin appears a bit south of where the camera is. I believe it's on the bridge at the St. Joe River, so a little bit north of there.
Okay, but is it a true and accurate depiction of, I guess, the roadway where the flock camera would be?
Yes, if anybody that goes by this camera, you're on a bridge and you're going to hit that intersection with 17 and 120.
Okay, the state is moving to admit State's Exhibits 4, 5, and 6 and publish.
No objection.
State's Exhibits 4, 5, and 6 are admitted without objection and ordered published. Proceed,
Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Clays.
We're going to pull up State's Exhibit 4. Can you describe for the jury what you see in State's Exhibit 4?
Like I described, this is the overall image of the vehicle and the flock hit. We call them hits. That's just a notification that the vehicle passed by this camera at this time. Down in the bottom left, we've got the name of the camera. Bottom right, we've got the latitude and longitude, and then the date and time. And that would be an image of a black Cadillac.
So in State's Exhibit 4, the license plate looks blurry. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
How is it that the flock system picked up this vehicle or picks up vehicles based on, let's say, a license plate number if the image itself is blurry?
So the second photo it takes is a zoomed in photo of the license plate. Generally, the system will also interpret the license plates. It'll tell us an estimate of what they think the plate is. I don't know the specifics how that works. I'm not a computer engineer or anything like that, but it'll then depict what that plate is.
Okay. And what do we see here?
Oh, it's much better.
State's
up there.
Exhibit 5.
On 5, this is the zoomed in image of the plate. Looks like ETV 3483 maybe.
When you looked at, this is a blown up image, correct?
Right, it's pixelated and yeah.
When you looked at it on your computer system, was it consistent with Yvette Green's license plate?
Yes.
And this, even though the bottom part is also blown up, is this the image that was taken connected with the State's Exhibit 4 image that we saw?
Correct, it would have been taken at the exact same time.
And you said that it was 9:31 p.m. on Eastern Standard Time on the 8th, correct?
Correct.
In State's Exhibit 6, what do we see?
So this is the map view of the county. We've got where the pin is, that's the intersection of County Road 17, State Road 120. There's actually a label there for the incident location, 712 North Hawthorne in Timberbrook. And the camera would have been right there at the river. You can see the St. Joe River.
When we go back to State's 4, what direction is this vehicle heading?
Southbound as indicated on the name. So State Road 120 SB southbound.
Okay, so when we look at State's Exhibit 6, why was this image helpful or relevant in your investigation?
Given that the time that it was reported that the fire, actually, I want to say the call for service, the time frame for the vehicle at that location to what people provided in their statements, the timeline was lining up to where the vehicle was going towards the residence 712. Well, that area. Yeah.
Towards the Timberbrook Mobile Park.
Yeah.
If the vehicle was traveling southbound, and Officer Miller Coral testified that he saw the vehicle at that location at 9:45 p.m., would the image at 9:31 p.m. be consistent with that timeline?
Yeah, it would take 2 minutes to get to the residence from that intersection.
Judge, may I approach? Detective Laux, I'm going to show you what have been marked for identification purposes as States Exhibits 7, 8, and 9. Go ahead and just take a look at those.
Okay.
What are States 7 and 8?
7 and 8 is another flock hit. Looks like at County Road 6 and Oslo Road eastbound. The time shows the 8th at 9:25 Eastern Standard. States Exhibit 8 is the zoomed in photo of the registration. And then we have a map with a red pin on that intersection, County Road 6 in Oslo.
And is that States Exhibit 9?
Yes.
Okay. Are States Exhibit 7 and 8 true and accurate depictions of the flock image that you would have viewed at that particular location for September 8th of 2024?
Yes.
And is States Exhibit 9 a true and accurate map or depiction of the area in which that camera would have been located in Elkhart County related to 712 North Hawthorne?
Yeah.
Okay. The state is moving to admit States 7, 8, and 9.
No objection.
States Exhibits 7, 8, and 9 are admitted without objection and ordered published. Continue, Ms. Class.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Detective Laux, I have to apologize because I forgot that first image was in Central Time, so I think I did these backwards, but that's okay. What do we see in State 7?
Again, as I described, this would be the first flock hit that shows the rear of the vehicle. Sometimes they'll get depending on the positioning of the camera, it can get the full vehicle. The bottom left, again, the camera name. So this is actually an Elkhart City camera at County Road 6 and Oslo Road. And the direction of travel it's pointing is for the eastbound traffic, latitude, longitude, and then date and time, bottom right.
And same information regarding how flock ends up picking this up, even though there's a blurry license plate.
Correct.
What do we see in States Exhibit 8?
This is the second photo, zoomed in image of the license.
It just makes me uncomfortable. I'm happy for the flock system when they're getting criminals, but it makes me uncomfortable.
Of that vehicle.
This is a blown up photo.
Correct.
Was when you looked at the flock image, was the license plate consistent with that of Yvette Green associated with that vehicle?
Yes.
And States Exhibit 9, what do we see here?
This is the, we have the red pin up there in the top left. That's the intersection where that camera is located.
Okay, and do we also see 712 North Hawthorne?
Yes, we do.
Where do we see it?
Top right quadrant of the photo.
Okay, so can you be a little bit more specific as it relates to the roadways?
County Road 17, State Road 120 is there. You go east on 120, and Timberbrook is just south on County Road 19 there.
You testified that the vehicle in States Exhibit 7 was traveling eastbound, correct?
Correct.
If the vehicle continues eastbound, does it come to County Road 17?
Yes, County Road 6 intersects with 17.
And what direction would the vehicle have to then travel to go back to States Exhibit 4?
To get to that location, you just go south on 17 from 6.
Was the timeline of the initial image at 9:25 p.m. consistent with States Exhibit 3 and 4?
Yeah, I'd say it's fair that would take about that amount of time, 6 minutes to get to that second location.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Detective Laux, I'm going to hand you what have been marked for identification purposes as States Exhibits 10, 11, and 12. Can you tell us what is States Exhibits 10 and 11? What are depicted, or what is depicted?
10 and 11 is the third flock hit I had found. Got a rear of the vehicle in Exhibit 10, a zoomed in photo on Exhibit 11, and then 12 is a map.
And does the map depict the flock camera location in Elkhart County?
Yeah, well, it doesn't have a red pin like the others. However, it's pretty much almost in the center where this camera's at Elkhart Road and State Line Road, so it's in the image. Yeah.
And this camera actually isn't in Elkhart County, is that correct?
Correct. It's Cass County, Michigan.
And is that the first county that you come to over this particular state line?
Yes.
Are these States Exhibits 10, 11, and 12, are these all fair and accurate depictions of both the flock images that you would have generated pursuant to this investigation and a map depicting where the flock camera is located just over the Indiana state line?
They are.
The state's moving to admit 10, 11, and 12.
Any objection?
No objection.
States exhibits 10, 11, and 12 are admitted without objection in order to publish. Continue, Ms. Clay.
What do we see, excuse me, in States Exhibit 10?
So similar to other ones, we've got a rear image of the vehicle as it's passing the camera. Bottom left is the name of the camera. So again, we see Cass County, Michigan, Elkhart Road, which on Indiana side is County Road 5, and State Line Road. And it's a northbound facing camera, so it gets traffic that goes northbound. We've got latitude and longitude, bottom right, date, time.
What is the date and time?
10:32 p.m. on the 8th,
Of September?
2024.
Do you recall what time the 911 call came in regarding the fire?
I don't, off the top of my head, I want to say 9:45, maybe it was later. Maybe it was after 10.
Okay. If another officer previously testified it was around 10:15 p.m., would that be
Yeah,
accurate?
that's fair.
So why was this image important to you?
So given the time, it's 15 minutes after that, approximately, after the time that the call is made.
What do we see in States Exhibit 11?
Zoomed in image of the registration for the vehicle.
Are these the same images from, I believe it's States Exhibit 5 and States Exhibit 7?
Not the same images, but they are the same registration.
And these were the license plate of Yvette Green, correct?
Correct.
What do we see in States Exhibit 12?
So here we have a map, northwest part of the county. We can see West County Line Road on the left. The dotted line looks like State Line Road. And then Elkhart Road, it's labeled on both sides as Elkhart Road, but the camera would be somewhere north of that intersection of the dotted line and Elkhart Road.
Was it your opinion that the timeline of that particular black SUV to be at this location at 10:32 p.m., did you believe that to be consistent with the timeline of the initial flock images and then the 911 call for the fire?
Correct. So if you combine the initial images, the time of call, and this final flock hit, that's pretty consistent to where that vehicle's going.
And I may have missed your answer, but why was it important for you to track this vehicle across the Michigan state line?
Because I was aware that Christopher Williams' mother's residence was in Niles, so could have been going that direction.
And you, in fact, spoke with Yvette Green, correct?
I did.
And did she confirm that Christopher Williams was driving that particular vehicle in September 2024?
She did.
Did you attempt to make phone contact with Christopher Williams on a couple occasions throughout the course of your investigation?
I did, I believe, twice. I want to say he called me one time.
Did you, in fact, speak with him on a couple occasions?
I did.
Did Christopher Williams ever provide you any information related to this investigation that you found to be helpful?
Not specifically, no.
He didn't say he did it?
Thank you, Detective. Those are all the questions I have.
He didn't confess?
All right, thank you, Ms. Clays.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Jerry Cross, please.
Detective Laux. Can I call you detective?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I'm not upset about that. But patrolman, I'm still upset about.
You had just mentioned that you had had a couple of contacts with Christopher Williams, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in fact, one of those conversations lasted about 10, 15 minutes, correct?
I don't recall, but that's possible, yeah.
And basically general denials, but he did speak to you.
Yes, he did speak to me.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
I heard a lot of arsonists burn themselves when they set a fire. I wonder if they checked him for any burn marks. Arson's just such a creepy crime altogether.
Your Honor, it's the first time I've worked with that system. You think I approach the reporter?
You may.
I don't think this guy is an arsonist. Like, I don't think he's like fascinated with fire or a serial arsonist. I think he just has anger issues with these people.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
You may.
Detective Laux, I am showing you what I have marked as Defendant's Exhibit B. Do you recognize that?
Yeah, I understand what I'm saying.
Okay. Is it a map, a Google map?
Yes,
Black and white, but very similar to the exhibits that you had shown of overhead maps when you were being questioned by Prosecutor Clays, correct?
yes, it looks pretty fair and accurate to that area, yes.
Okay. And you said this is a fair and accurate representation of a Google map with the areas that you were discussing?
Yes,
Judge, I move Defendant's Exhibit B to evidence.
Wait a second, this is different. Oh, this one. I don't have any objection.
I believe you said she had no objection.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have no objection. Thank you, Judge.
Preliminary matter, Mr. Majeri. My recollection is that Detective Laux testified to 3 different locations. You just indicated that Defendant's Exhibit B is a location. I don't have any idea which one it is. The jurors may be following this, but I'm not. Can you have the detective please identify which location Defendant's Exhibit, or to which location Defendant's Exhibit B refers, please?
Detective Laux, you said this was a fair and accurate representation of the locations you discussed. In fact, it encapsulates all 3 locations that you had discussed, correct?
correct. It's got the incident location. It's labeled there 712 North Hawthorne, excuse me. I see the intersection of, it's very small, but the intersection of County Road 17, State Road 120. And this looks like the Cleveland Road. So County Road 6 is indicated here, East-West Road. And then northwest, we've got County Road 5 or Elkhart Road, and then the intersection with State Line Road.
Thank you, Detective. Thank you, Mr. Majeri. Defendant's Exhibit B is admitted without objection and ordered published.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I can figure this out.
You can figure it out. It took you 10 minutes to introduce one piece of evidence, sir.
Detective Laux, are you able to view defendant's Exhibit B as it's seen on the screen?
Fairly, yeah.
In the lower right-hand corner, there's a jagged line. Can you describe what you see there?
As you said, a jagged line. I think if you want me to be more specific, it's probably the route someone would take to get through Timberbrook to get towards the back end of Timberbrook, which is where 712 is.
Okay. All right, that's good for today. We got through the initial part of the trial. Now we can get to the good stuff. So we're going to start in a couple hours with the next part. It's 10:30 now. 6 more hours, right? That'll be fun. And then Monday we go back to work. Our days off are over. But that's okay. It's just 9:30. Should I go for another hour, Smurf? Is that what you're saying? I can't. Everybody left. There's only 24 people left. I lost everybody about, I don't know, 30 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago. So, I guess everybody went to bed. Which is fine. We can take a little nap before we start again. I'm gonna be back in a couple hours, guys. I hope that, yeah, I know. It is crap. But maybe, who knows? Maybe YouTube will pick up and I won't have to work anymore. Actually, YouTube is a lot of freaking work. I took off all these days and I can't even tell you how much court I watched. It was a lot of court. I got so much stuff ready for you guys. It's not even funny. Yeah, here too. I gotta take the trash out. Ugh. Somebody do it for me. All right. I hope that you guys have a great night. I did miss you guys a lot, and it's good to be back. I'll see you in a couple hours. It's hard. No one watches court videos on Twitch. They watch games. But good night, guys. Bye. Oh, I haven't heard this song in days. Here we go.
Well, I thought I'd write a happy song. I found a chat room where I belong. You don't know how much it means to me. With such a groove, I'm less lonely. Oh, Kathy's the creator. She's leading the way. At court vibes, we laugh and we stay. Her smile shines bright. She's got that grace. Come join the fun. It's a welcome and play. I can count on distraction from my pain, 'cause this creator takes you there and back again. Kathy is the heart here, always in stride. Her work is hard, but her joy she can't hide. Oh, Kathy's the creator, she's leading the way. At court vibes, we laugh and we stay. Her style is classy, she's always top shelf. Don't take my word, come and see for yourself. Her cases are new with a twist or two. I really like them, I believe you will too. A little lifeline passed along in rhyme. Why don't you join us? It's a guaranteed good time. Oh, Kathy's the creator, she's leading the way. Come and see for yourself.